Salon people and then party them. Sierra Leone Media will be bringing you a variety of programs ranging from documentaries to discussions, interviews, news, views, sports, and entertainment. Our programs will contain matters on development, governance, the economy, and issues that are of importance to Sierra Leone. So, no left BNO because we get Bebe program then like salon discussion, meets the ministers, the president's hour, and the Gladi program. Look me, I look you. All this they start soon na www.sierragemedia.org. Now who's tem these?
Hello, my name is Josephine Kamara. I'm the founder of You Can Do It Foundation. You Can Do It Foundation is a charitable organization based in Sierra Leone, West Africa. You Can Do It Foundation has been in existence for the past 2 years. We have been fighting gender-based violence against women and girls within the community. During the past 2 years, we have been offering psychosocial support, counseling, court fee, medical fee, including school items to the survivors of gender-based violence. However, during the lockdown of COVID-19, report received and confirmed that rape cases among a minor has increased tremendously within our community. Because of this, You Can Do It Foundation has secured the land to build an accommodation for the survivors of rape. However, this may almost become impossible without your generous support. We need your help to build this home for the survivors. Your help could be in cash or in kind. If you wish to join us to make a difference in a child's life, please go to our website, which is www.youcandoitcyf.org, or you can go to our GoFundMe page, which is Home of Hope for the survivors of gender-based. Or you can contact us with the details at the end of this video. We thank you greatly for your generous support, and thank you once more for making a difference in a child's life.
I was raped multiple times by my aunt's boyfriend when I was 6.
I was repeatedly raped at the age of 8 by a close family member.
I was raped at 19. I didn't speak openly about it because I was ashamed and afraid that people would judge me.
I was raped at age 5 by my caregiver's husband.
On June 17th, 2020, 5-year-old Khadija Sakon, a beautiful little girl from Freetown, Sierra Leone, was repeatedly raped and strangled to death, allegedly by her own cousin. Her death shocked the nation. But in truth, in this small West African country, 9 out of 10 girls experience some form of sexual violence in their lifetime. Think about that for a second. 9 out of 10. That's 90%. My name is Aisha Sase. I'm a journalist and activist. I'm joining forces with Idris Elba and other activists from across Sierra Leone to support the survivors of sexual violence with the Survivors Solidarity Fund. Please consider donating whatever you can afford. All monies raised will go to 4 local organizations currently providing free medical and legal services to survivors. 5-year-old Khadija lost her life to sexual violence. That same threat remains for millions of others. So this is also a call for you to use your voice, your power, to draw attention to an enduring culture of rape. Together, we must end it now. My name is Aisha Sase. I am Khadija Sako.
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 We are Khadija Sako.
We are all Khadija Sako.
When I was a kid growing up in Sierra Leone, my neighbor had a small TV. The television was beaming these images about famine, war, about diseases.
There was a silent majority suffering.
I am fed up with that kind of news. We can use culture and art to change mind and hearts and inspire.
This is big, man. This has great magnitude. Sometimes I feel afraid. I feel terrified when I think of the project.
Tito! What are they, Tito?
We are nowhere near waiting one for day.
I want this. I want it. I want it.
I want this thing for succeed, Koji.
This place fail and die.
Is this a curse or what?
People like you that make Sierra Leone the way it is.
Don't give me blow. But you are this way, don't give me blow.
Oh man, just did lie, blame. These are the things that have wrecked this country.
We need to move this nation forward. We're going to need to light a better future.
I can call them the second to last project. We died at the last. Rest assured, my brother.
This is the time to celebrate the woman.
Woman. Let the world celebrate the woman. A world would mean nothing without a woman. Let the world give women a chance.
Are you a woman?
Woman. Let the world celebrate the woman. A world would mean nothing without a woman. Let the world give women a chance.
Sister, the girl, child, and the mother, you are a woman.
Let the world give women a chance.
Why celebrating the woman?
Socio-political, cultural, economic achievements of the woman in the past, present and future. Let the world Give women a chance.
Who is a woman?
The most sensitive, so caring, so tender. The most loving in the world. Empower the woman. Educate the girl child. Woman's right is human right. No to violence against women.
No, 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 no.
No.
No, 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 no.
Parlez violence, à la femme.
Werakani.
No.
Yeah, we find anywhere.
Parlez violence, à la femme.
Tu cherches l'enfant, tu y amour, elle accouche dans les douleurs.
Parlez violence, à la femme.
Tu rentres la nuit, tu sens l'alcool, cigarette, tu tapes sur la femme.
Parlez violence,
non.
Parlez violence, à la femme.
Pourquoi violenter la femme? Dans le monde entier, je dis non.
Pas de violence, à la femme.
Violence physique, psychologique, économique, harcèlement sexuel.
Pas de violence, à la femme.
Gomil
misu, mais.
Gomil
misu me ninjiwe
Wangfu warkele
Ngomil misu me
shedding my tears for a woman.
I'm shedding my tears for the woman.
Crying in the place of the woman.
Shedding my tears, I'm shedding my tears for the woman. Shedding my tears, I'm shedding my tears for the woman.
Celebrate
woman, celebrate woman.
Jingwe number
Celebrate woman,
see you
Jingwe. Celebrate woman, celebrate woman.
Let's celebrate the woman. Let's celebrate the woman. This is who said God given. God has given to all.
Woman, see you born in Jingwe. Celebrate woman, see you born in Jingwe.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Sierra Leone Media Live on YouTube and Facebook, and welcome to another edition of How Do You Go Inside the Republic. But I want to say welcome to everybody, and also I want to congratulate all women in the diaspora in Sierra Leone and all over the world where they celebrate International Women's Day today. But before I go any further with International Women's Day, I want for Lake Wiki respect and thumbs up to all Sierra Leonean women. We don't work very hard within their reign on earth whilst they're still alive. All the contribution they really don't make towards Mama Salon, and all the contribution they really don't make now their own small communities they really whosoever they find themselves. So that now thumbs up to all women, and I believe say women has been the pillar of so many successes the way they see where we don't see all over the world. So for the fact say they have been the pillar behind so many of those successes they don't see all over the world, we they give them thumbs up today. But it's not just about giving them thumbs up today, it's about giving them thumbs up all the time, because their contribution has made a lot of difference in terms of development, in terms of awareness creation, in terms of protesting for things that are not supposed to be happening to people, not just to women, in terms of everything we don't do so far in making meaningful contributions all over the world. They have their lapses, they have their shortfalls, they have their issues that sometimes go against them, but overall, they have been remarkable in terms of changing the world that we are today. Women's developmental strides have made things possible for so many people we don't become successful in this day and age where they live. So it's not just an International Women's Day as far as we're concerned. It's a day to celebrate women and continue to celebrate women for their hard work in society. That's not just the brief about saying bravo and kudos to all women in Sierra Leone and women specifically all over the world. Today is a special day, and I feel say for Sierra Leone Media, we always on the raise concerns and awareness for women in participation in everything what we do in Sierra Leone, from the mainstream media to politics, to sports, to entertainment, and to development, economic development, infrastructural development, transportation, health, of course, is key, and many other issues they were feel to say women's contribution will be meaningful. We don't talk about this for the past couple of years on our platform. We don't talk about this for decades. We have made our own contribution for develop the female sectors in we own small professional career they will get. We don't try for help and build a lot of capacity building for women in Sierra Leone in so many different ways. Mentoring, physical direct teachings, physical direct contract, as in communications between ourselves and women of Sierra Leone, and also giving them the power for take ownership in certain things they willing to do, because we believe say women can be successful and also in control and in charge of many things the way man feels say they can do better. But there are times where they can want to take advantage, especially where they can say, oh, well, when it comes to heavy stuff, we are not going for do. I will like money and can help you now. We want the money for can support. That's the time they really want to take advantage of men. But anyway, I know they talk about that today. Today, and they talk about all the positive things they want to say, woman, go bring come to the table for discuss going forward with the agenda then we will all get now, we platforms them, we will all get now, we tabletop desk them, we will all get behind the scenes of what we see or what we don't see. That's not the discussion we can get about women and today specifically. As we all know, the celebration for International Women's Day today, the theme of the United Nations agenda, now innovation and technology for gender equality. What does that really mean? How can we measure that equality of technology and innovation? But before we go deep into the program, I go left for make Mr. Femi Palmer say hello to viewers then and say a little bit of what you think about today's show and the kind of contribution we have to say he will make to today's program.
I don't have an answer for that. Is there something else I can help with?
No, sorry, I'm not talking to you, Siri. You see, Siri telling me one for help.
Okay.
Over to you, Femi.
Boy, you there with me?
I hear you loud and clear, Femi Farmer.
Great. I think say Siri wa a few. I think say last week I'm gonna get some issues with me audio. Some people then call me, tell me say they're not gonna hear me fine. So the hope say una they hear me loud and clear. If not they hear me a big una make way so that I able adjust a few things then. But anyway, yes, thank you, T-Boy, and thanks for introducing the show. Today is a special day. So first of all, as you said, don't do, I go look for welcome all we viewers them, but especially we female viewers them, we women them all around the world, both in Sierra Leone and in the diaspora. Welcome to Sierra Gem. We tell na thank you na the join we. Man, don't enough jealousy to enough vex for me. I did talk to the human first, we thank you that you're joining us, and we congratulate you now on this special day. Although Tiboy, I want to say eventually every day is supposed to be Women's Day. We come from our mothers, we they marry, we with them, we the born girl picking them. So women are very special. Girl picking them, papa. So women are always special. Boy picking on another vexel, but this is the truth. So we want to welcome you, want to thank you, want to congratulate Una with the celebrate this wonderful day with the world on the side for making us celebrate. Tibo, say today na holiday na salon. It's great because in London it's not. So
yes, it is a public holiday in certain countries, but not all over the world.
Yeah, not all over the world. So it's good that Sierra Leone is actually giving women time off to spend at home with their family or for go on different occasion them and celebrate this wonderful day. So kudos to the government of Sierra Leone for doing so. Over to you, T-Boy.
Well, that's a very good initiative. Like you say, today is a holiday in Sierra Leone, but it is not a public holiday in so many other countries then, because even though they recognize the day fully, but they haven't been given it all clear public holiday. There are different reasons in different countries why they choose not to give this particular day a public holiday. It depends on what their own criteria stand for or what they mean by celebrating women all over the world. But it has been a challenging topic of discussion since inception. Today, I think we are celebrating 103 years of International Women's Day. So that means they've been celebrating this particular event for the past 102 years. Today make them 103 years when they celebrate International Women's Day. And the reason we brought about celebrating this day has a lot of various different controversies than it all started off with, like a strike, some movements of women in America from New York trying to change the agenda of the workforce. Again, it switched over to German women. We can't really say yes, themselves can do something, but made them get gender equality in Germany. And then you move on to other parts of Europe. Russia became another place where also create more tension about International Women's Day. So there have been a lot of controversies around the celebration itself. And what thing we realize it happened mostly. Femi, can you hear me? You want to say something? Okay. So what thing we understand say mostly now the challenges then with this particular event bring come to the other parts of the world. For example, the South Americans and also the Arab states and countries, then we not that much inclined for me to understand, see, gender issues are very important issues all over the world. So within the Asian community, within Asia, within South America, and some parts of the Arab world, we find them very, very difficult to adapt to the system of celebrating this particular day. So it brought about a different kind of ideology within the sense at which they for begin look at why they for celebrate this day, why they for give women a certain amount of powers them. Sometimes in the Arab states, Islamically, they said it's wrong. They cannot even recognize the day, but things have changed a lot. We've seen a lot of protests happening over the past couple of years or decades about women in various different parts of the Arab states, like Syria, Iran, Iraq. Iran more gets a huge amount of discrepancies in terms of gender issues there. So we don't see then differences there. So again, China and some other parts of Europe, we also raise a huge amount of protests. So feminists all over the world sometimes take advantage of this particular day and try to make a day for protest, which hasn't gone down well in the eyes of government officials in various different countries all over the world. So what in try for do now for try for segregate the day itself, not to make it a political event day, or try for make a day where they for celebrate peacefully. So it has its own differences, it has its own challenges, and there was a huge amount of controversy based around the celebration of International Women's Day. Femi, is there anything you want to add on to this? Because like I say, the challenges of International Women's Day is different in different parts of the world. Some they take and say, no, it is a norm. Some are not. Some are using it for protest purposes, and some they use them for political differences. So what's your take on that?
Yeah, so T-Boy, as you've been say earlier on, or maybe they say earlier on, the government try with and give we women them time off for able for do different in them. No matter what you do, some people would like and some people not go like. You can't make all man like you anyway. So low forget about Andy. But I think say it is important that we recognize women, even if we not recognize them today, tomorrow, next tomorrow. It's important that we recognize them every day. If you think about it, women make up possibly 55% of the world's population, and who's a true day for talk. Because if we look at the theme, the international theme, there is a problem in society worldwide. Say women they not get the recognition we then forget. Some call it 50-50, some call it equality, some call it equity. And I would like for discuss the difference between equality and equity later, because then the self gets in your own problem. But as I say, 50-something% of the world's population are women, and 40-something na man them, but man them reside in most of the top jobs them globally. And in Africa also we come out, and in Sierra Leone, I believe say those numbers are even worse. So I think say the Sierra Leone theme for today na equity in, I might be wrong because I don't see 2-3 things but I'll be reading equity within the leadership roles in the country. So again, if we look at leadership roles, we look at both the private and government or public sector, we know they see the numbers the way we foresee. Our population of women in those roles not reflects the population of women in our country. So there's many issues then we can look at and discuss and try for answers them of why things in this so and why things they know they change, or I say it's a big topic. All man not get for agree, but I think we get for agree on see the representation of women isn't what it should be in any sector globally, but definitely in Sierra Leone, also we come out.
All right, Femi, I totally agree with that, and I think say the theme is the theme varies from different part of the world. It depends on what's in the gender issues then within the face of that particular region. And then they use as their own specific theme, although the United Nations theme is slightly different from other themes all over the world. But I think I agree with you when you say the percentages of representation in public and private sectors, specifically in Sierra Leone, hasn't been great for the eyes of men to see, or even beyond reality. But I think, say, if we begin to look at things then deep into what we talk about, from now on, they will be able to understand exactly the reason why make we feel say celebrating today and celebrating every other day for women is very much important. So the 3 major topics they talk about today: one, are the impact of women, or the impacts women have made in Sierra Leone, that's one. And then we also have how to close the gender gap in leadership roles, both in the private and public sector. And then, of course, the global theme of innovation and technology for gender equality. There are a few more other areas than where I feel say we also will get for talk about. We involve a lot of increase in technology, how changes in political dynamics, changes in developmental activities, looking at the business sectors, community development projects, access to information, access to financial support for women and girls in civilian, access to healthcare and education. Again, the capacity building to empower women, how far or how much work are we putting into that when it comes to civilian? And also using innovation technology to enhance gender balance. How? Especially in civilian, we are growing in terms of making use of technology. The innovation sector is still yet to be developed, especially for women. We don't see we don't start initially like 10 years ago, I would say, for start, but we have seen a huge decline of innovation for women or girls in civilian. And they will also therefore begin to look at entrepreneurship, which again, earlier on, a couple of months ago, we enhanced on the fact that entrepreneurship for young people in civilian has started to grow, especially for women, but we've seen a huge decline of that one as well within the past couple of years. And also roles that women play in agricultural development projects in civilian, and also assistance in disadvantaged communities. What sort of supports do they have in those disadvantaged communities, especially for women and girls? So you get a lot more enabling environments for women to succeed in society. How do they make the environments enabling enough for making people able to get access to some of the things that I don't highlight? Then we'll also therefore begin to look at issues that they affect women them as in total, which is sexual harassment, sexual discrimination, gender-based violence, and a few more other issues that we'll fit to say now of huge concern. But let me start with the main one who gets on the agenda, the impacts women have made in civilian. As we talk about gender issues and International Women's Day, I feel so for begin look at some of the things that we women in our salon don't do, we don't create enough impact. If we can break them down to a few sectors then, I would say, let's start with the industry we are the parsley entertainment and media industry. In that particular industry, we've seen a huge amount of limp of people that we don't get involved, especially women. So basically, look at the innovation and technological gender discrimination in that particular field, I will say it is just about to grow. We haven't even started yet, but we don't get like an entry space where many young girls, they don't get involved in social media content development. I would say now one of the themes them down on technological improvements will be some term don't bring where the world don't bring to young girls, especially women in Syria. But again, let's look at that particular sector, when at the sector where we did, and see how much knowledge we feel to say young girls they get, how much access they get into information, how much support they get when you look at developmental support for women within that particular sector. What we see mostly are media houses emerging. Yes, we know for sure, but are they media houses that are emerging from grassroots media, wherein kids are being taught how to start up a media business and the challenges they're in the face and how they put them together, either for them to succeed or for them not to succeed. So technology has already started to change the lives of women in civilian in so many different ways. Because when you look at some other countries in Africa, the role of technology for women don't change certain challenges they will face, like a banking system. The banking system don't become a little bit more improved at some point, wherein we not get that mainstream banking system anymore, where until you get for be literate enough or able for open an account for me, they able for go save and withdraw money. So technology don't make them slightly easy, wherein you have now mobile banking system from different mobile companies where they enhance monetary transactions and savings via money transfer on on mobile phones. So basically you have like Afri Money, Airtel Money, Orange Money, and the rest. So that is one way technology don't help for ease down the disadvantaged women the way possibly not get basic education for understanding. They need for do business with their money, the need for transact business with their money, the need for make payments online. So basically, it's like an online form of making payments to mobile money transfer. That has been a great difference in other parts of Africa. And I feel say Salone also don't benefit some of that amount of technology they where I feel say don't help for change the lives of many people, especially people within a disadvantaged communities that we had tried to highlight earlier on. Meaning people mostly from disadvantaged communities may not have the access to be able to open up a bank, open up a bank account. They're not going to be able to give that kind encouragement. They say, we're going to work at commercial bank, tell them, say, you want to open an account. The questions asked is so much. You have to fill a huge amount of forms. You get for being kind, this kind evidence, this kind proof. Some of these women don't have all those documentation ready. And if they're saying they go prepare, it will take time. So the mobile banking system don't help for ease that pressure they with people in a disadvantaged communities for still able to get access for communicate and then transfer money and do business financially to mobile money transfer. So that's now one advantage of technology where the UN don't focus on this particular year. Innovation, maybe not yet to be seen, but we talk about the impact women have made in Sierra Leone. So that now one great thing we have to say technology don't help for make women able for make their own meaningful contribution to society. Because what in that don't help them for do, now for like that man with that woman in a village, able for doing business, it possibly able for send money transfer for in picking something where they go to school and forget some. Or something for in picking where they go to school now the provincial town headquarters in either Bo, Kenema, Makeni, Pujong, Kainang, Kono. So it don't help for ease that pressure they will make women and not get some amount of facility now for also make contribution towards society in Sierra Leone. Other impacts of women in Sierra Leone will come from let's say entertainment. Entertainment, I don't talk about media. Entertainment is also another area we'll go for begin look at very closely as well. In entertainment, we realize say there are huge amounts of young girls getting involved into the entertainment industry. What we haven't seen that much is the amount of encouragement and opportunities or doors being opened for some of these young girls and women who really wants to get into the business of entertainment. If you watch Salone, there has been few or no management structures within the entertainment industry run by women. I think a couple of years ago, there used to be one where Abinose was put together by a few women who came from the States who were now residing in Freetown. But I don't know whether that particular one is still there in operation. So we haven't seen women in managerial positions in the entertainment industry. We don't see the manage women artists, women entertainers, female hosts, and women involved within the industry, the film industry, and so on and so forth. But also this guy for see now how we'll be able for push that gender gap there, for like women themselves get into the ideology of managing some of them projects they are so in, some of them businesses they are so within the entertainment industry. That has been a huge challenge. So I don't know what's in the challenges they were in the face to that particular area, either because they don't have the technical skills, whether they not get the knowledge for manage or the knowledge for run their industries, then we are the highlight. So specifically the entertainment industry. So one foresee some amount of change we possibly go begin flow now the entertainment industry for make we see the amount of role we women will for play in Sierra Leone in that particular area. Some of the impacts they don't make so far, now the fact say they have changed the face of how you look at women within the industry. They don't get to the stage wherein they also can challenge certain things. They also can push certain agenda. But the problem we are facing in the face most now the fact say they haven't been given the center stage for they in charge of any any sector of that particular industry. But their contribution has been great within the past couple of years. But the focus of most of their contributions is only based on gender issues, is based on violence against women within the entertainment industry, is based on physical, sexual harassment against women within the industry. So one foresee them slightly deviate from that particular theme set of what thing they do into the mainstream industry itself, for maybe them begin get the role for say, well, okay, we self now manager now they manage this kind of group, we manage male artists, then we manage male entertainers, then because they do also have the capacity. So we therefore begin to see how then go able to give them some kind amount of responsibility for making them take managerial roles. Like Femi highlights earlier on, we've seen either a zero or a handful of women in position of trust within most of the areas they will get in a salon in terms of women contributing either in mainstream or non-mainstream political issues, private sector issues, and public issues. They will fit to see women for make a contribution on. Tell me, what's going to be your take on some of the things that I don't talk about so far within the entertainment and media industry of the impact of women within Sierra Leone and that particular industry?
Yeah, so T-Boy, it's the entertainment industry. Yeah, so my background, I was, if I can use that word, I was a DJ for several years, possibly a couple of decades, and over the years, we look around, we searched high and low for female DJs within our community. It wasn't there were very few. There wasn't even, it's an entertainment field, but it will not be in the sea like push. We'll get the young boys that we go come and say, "Oh, teach us the trade, teach us the skills." We get a few they want to do dandy, but it was hard. And as I use dandy, I go into the artists, our musicians in Sierra Leone. Again, we have very few, and the one the way we get, for some strange reason, only a handful then go stay the length of time. So there must be some issues within the industry where they encourage people or women for coming, and they encourage them for stay. So even the few way they come in can't stay. So we as Monday, I think so we need to look, in the entertainment industry in particular, we need to look at ourselves and see if we provide the right environment for make we get women then come and can be entertainers and as you say can even lead in the entertainment industry. Whenever I go to Sierra Leone, I get to know some of the people that are within at the top within the field, and where they run the business. And again, there's very few. There's a few women in Sierra Leone in entertainment, but they do a great job. There's some radio presenters, there's some managers, where they manage female artists, where they manage even male artists. So there are a few. But I think we as man them get a look at what they do for able for attract more and the few way they come in, what do they do for able for make we keep them, encourage them, mentor them, and watch their development.
And the few then way you say they manage or they in managerial positions, I also highlight them, but are they still in those same managerial positions like say them don't depend on before over the years? Because like I say, I'm not seeing or hearing any of the kind of structures and they still in existence. They were there before. So them still and they exist still, or not just before, just like a minimum?
No. So there's still women in entertainment, boy. I mean, the film industry, in particular, has a lot of them. and in the music industry, there a few of them, there are a few of them right at the top where in their own ways they're competing with the men, and they seem to have a vision. It's hard to see, they're few and far between, but there is encouragement. Even the program will go last week, they were talking about I think say there was a female DJ Wibiwa, or female Wibiwa take on the work as a DJ, and she reached out to a few of her contacts, and they made a few calls. Some of the calls, they reached London, and they assisted her to get there financially. As I say, so there are people, however you want to recognize them, there are people within the industry that are female that are striving hard to raise the game of the women, to help them, to support them in the trade, if not that way they won't go. But again, the entertainment industry is bigger than just the artists, the DJs, radio presenters. There's many. I was in a program a few weeks ago where they talk about jobs within football. And if they were talking to young men, them we don't go through training academies, them now this side of the world in the UK, we not actually make them. So they didn't make it because either they had an injury early in their career, or the clubs then lets them go at the age of 16, 17, 18 and say, okay, you're not really good enough, we can't sign you. And some of them kids here, so they were devastated. They're not waiting for do next. And we sit on there was a bunch of them, and the speaker may tell them, say, within the sport, no, you don't need for necessarily go kick the ball na the pitch. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of other roles them where you can play. So now I can say, if we can't have the or if we can't keep the female them for be right at the front with the mic singing or DJing, we should be able to encourage them, because there are other roles within the entertainment industry where they can take. They can be choreographers, they can be managers, and can be also directors. There's many roles them, but we need for begin do we own work as man them for open then do multi. So and something we get for do what they call positive discrimination. If you're looking for a position, instead of I just see T-boy, I go hire T-boy, I go say no, this position, first of all, I need for interview. Sometimes I interview 10 people them, I not go interview the first 10 we can, because sometimes the first 10 we can go be man them. So I would say 7 of these seats are reserved for women only, and only 3 man them, and you begin looking that way, because then it will give you the opportunity for actually go out, go do your homework, and find people who might be interested in some of these roles.
I totally agree, because again, if we don't create the avenue for let people able to fill the gaps of women involvement in most of these fields they already talk about, then it will be practically impossible for men to get the opportunity for getting jobs in the first place. So that now some of the roles women may have made in Sierra Leone within the entertainment industry. If we shift stand a little bit, let's go into another area where I would say now the health sector. The impact women have made within the health sector in Sierra Leone is possibly one of the most successful, meaning majority of we health practitioners in Sierra Leone are women. But why don't choose that specific profession there? Is it because it is something that they already inherit, as in trade of looking after people is one of their best qualities? That is why most of them are qualified, or most of them want to go into the nursing or the medical sector? Or is that one of the only area that I think they have opportunities to apply for and get the jobs criteria based on the fact that they are more capable to deliver in that sector? So I realize over the past couple of years, I would say 20, 30, 40 years, there's been a huge amount of women within the medical sector than men. I'm not going to say there are not male nurses in Sierra Leone, but I think the differences is huge. When I say huge, extremely huge. You possibly might have 90% of female nurses compared to the way how you get male nurses, especially for that particular healthcare profession. But when it comes to doctors, it's slightly different. I don't understand the logic behind that. So we still have less female doctors than we have less male nurses. So what's the difference? And the impact they have created for that particular area has been great, because the health sector is practically being run on the lower level by women. Now, majority of the women in the nurses, them now almost all the practices in Sierra Leone, as in, of course, another one days go now cottage, I see past 2 or 3 male nurse. Other than that, it might be a male doctor. But the majority of staff working at the cottage hospital are primarily women. Is it because that's the major trend of opportunity that they only get within the employment industry in Sierra Leone? That's another question for ask, because when you look at the difference great compared to the way how the difference in our other fields. Now, the reason make us say that the impact within they make in the nursing sector is possibly one of the best, because women will give you care regardless whether they are qualified nurses or not. So now definitely to make us feel say they see it more likely to go into that career path than actually choosing other career paths. We could be more, physical or more challenging in so many different ways. But we'll get a look at them back again from the other hand and see the role in the play. Sometimes they play their role also with less facilities, with less opportunities, with less access to the real amount of equipment or medication waiting for the prescribed to patients then or people that really come for care to them. So we see the amount of challenges they face in a particular area, but then they still work very hard, sometimes even without pay, but then they make their own strong contribution towards society in Sierra Leone within the health sector. When one of the major sectors in Sierra Leone, we have to say, if you don't have good health, you will not be able to have the opportunity to even earn living, not saving a decent living. So Femi, I know you're a medical person and you get huge concern about the health sector in Sierra Leone, and look at the highlights. Women have made a great impact within the health sector in Sierra Leone, because I would say 90% of the health practitioners, them especially nurses in Sierra Leone, are women. If you see there's any reason for that particular advantage situation they would fall under?
So Tibo, this, I think it's what I mentioned earlier, and what I talk say, we need to look at the difference between equality and equity. People get drawn to different areas or different systems or different industries, different jobs because of different things. We all know to one. So if we say we want to be equal, we can never be equal. I can never go run against Usain Bolt. No matter say, because me a man in a man, it's not a fair, a fair thing. And at the same thing with woman them, and at the same thing we can to woman and man. Now I make us say, you can't. I think that gender equality will never ever happen, or it's going to be hundreds and hundreds of years away. But that's my personal view. So it's not a fact. But what I think that we should be pushing for is gender equity. And I'll make another. I just want to give another scenario. A few years ago, the lawn tennis, the world lawn tennis thing, the woman that they play tennis begin complain, say, then things then forget the same pay as the man that they play tennis. Yeah. And some people, it was a big argument. Some people say, yeah, definitely. But if you think about it, equal pay, yes, we go like forget the equal pay. But if you think about it, the man only play 5 sets where he can to Wimbledon and the major things. The woman play 3 sets.
So they're playing 2 sets more than the
technically, if you want say then they pay that man 1,000 no, let's say then they pay that man $5,000 dollars for per game, yeah, and that woman herself wants $5,000 per game, then the woman should play 5 sets. So if you think about it, say every set you get $1,000. Yeah, so you get $1,000 for sets. So you win 5 sets, or best of 5 sets, you go with $5,000. But if you're playing 3 sets and you want $5,000, then it's not equality. Yeah. So if you want that, you have to play the 5 sets. So now that's my argument. But if you think about it, if the man gets $1,000 per set and win $5,000, and the woman gets $1,000 per set and win $3,000, that is equity. It's not equality, but it's equity. So you have given her a fair chance for earn the same money as the man per set. So if that woman able for play 5 sets, she has the right to take $5,000. But if she's going to play 3 sets, then the argument is flawed from my point of view. I know some people are not agree and they're going to kill me for that, but that's it. But I'll give another example. In America, over the weekend we passed, so I believe, there was a tournament. I think it's gonna be a basketball tournament. And correct me if I'm wrong, I might get the sports wrong, but I think so in basketball tournament, a bunch of girls them had them get their own training field. The council or the state say would they take that training field on the hand, except if you're not playing at the league. But there's no girls league, there was a boys league, so then get for go play with the boys them. But then when they agree, say okay, well we'll go play at the league, then tell them say the council or the state tell them say if we not win a competition, we don't get for going at the trophy. So they don't begin put barriers them for make the woman then succeed. Then guess what? The girls enter the tournament and they win the tournament. But already they know when they refuse to give them the trophy. You can imagine in this day and age, we know they talk about 1940 something, 1950 something. No. We they talk about 2023. Yeah, these women came and then beat all the man team that would then put front them, but yet they no one give them the recognition. So you see, this is what women are fighting for day in, day out. These young girls that wait happen to them so are just the typical example of waiting they be to women them all around the world. If you compete in the same area as me, you, T-Boy and Juma, if women and compete with we, enable beat we, they should be paid more than us. That's what I think, yeah? But if they compete with us and they give them, you know, a handicap, then say, okay, because now woman, we only expect them for do this much, then we should have a handicap in the pay. That's what I think. And make us say we should forget about gender equality, but just go for gender equity. We mean say then get a fair representation of things them and they get rewarded for the efforts within the put.
I think the equity and the equality now another discussion for the day because it gets in own challenges that will be slightly different from the challenges that we women in the face all over the world. But like you clearly made that example of the female team we join with the male team and then eventually they win the tournament, I think say that is a huge amount of gender discrimination. Because if they are both entering the same competition, the same tournament, the same level of performance, I think the winner should take it all. There should not be any form of discrimination in terms of saying to them, "Oh, no, woman, them, so oh, no, go win the trophy." Because they're not meant for participating in the first place. If then we want for make them all go to the top and win the tournament. But I agree with you on the equity side, but like I said, the equity side getting on different challenges. So you feel say the nursing sector now something for do with the equity, balance, gender theory for bring income, and more for do with the differences in equality.
No, as I said before, I think that we're drawn to different professions. Yeah. Unfortunately or fortunately, there's majority of women them drawn to the nursing profession. I don't know the answer for that, but so it is. Same thing. If you go to a building site, yes, you will find 1 or 2 women in there. Yeah, but the majority of the people drawn to that profession are male. Yeah, I'm not gonna say there is restriction for the woman for coming. I just think say most women don't think that that is a profession for them. But in teaching, in nursing, even engineering, it's sad because we have so many very bright women, but when you look at the numbers of engineers around the world, yeah, we not just talk about Salono, because Salono, I believe, say it's even worse. I don't have the stats, so I'm not going to make any statements here. But if you look at engineering around the world, women don't seem to be drawn there for some strange reason. When I was going to school, we may get some bright girls. Them women they compete. Not even mean they compete. They were a higher level than most of we in sciences. But most of these women did not pursue any of their careers in there. So, I can't explain it, T-boy. I'm not possibly intelligent enough to understand the human brain, as in why some people are attracted to certain positions or not. But something I should say earlier on, from where we born, women and they look after we, they care for us. So maybe they have that maternal thing in them, that mothering thing in them. So they see it's a because they can say some of them profession has not even in profession, they're calling. You get for born with something, say you want to be a teacher. You get for born with something, say you want to be a doctor. You have for born with something, say you want to be a nurse. So maybe that's their calling. I can't explain why.
Okay, thank you very much, Femi. We just learned you from 2020 say, well, you want for make say back in the days, women they go into the medical field because they make more money than man them, than even the doctor them. So they make all the women one for matron and female staff in the hospital because they make more money. Well, then they go down to another question, but I also see Madam Tina when they ask for the woman in the platform. Well, Madam Tina, as you always know, we have a lot of women that we don't talk to for a while on this platform. And we know how for make people then feel say we bias. Now then people no more with the target all the time. We'll get female issues program then, and then particular woman in the call. And especially, one of the women we can always call for come and discuss female issues in the platform. But what for also spread we hands them to those that possibly haven't been given the opportunity or we want the opportunity. That has been one of our greatest struggle because we're able for bring a new set of women and we will come for can discuss gender issues in the platform. Over to you, Femi. I see Lois here. What you want to say?
Yes, so Auntie Tina, I like the question. There were actually 2 people I was trying to get for today, to woman them. One had one turned me down. He saying Ingo can listen, but he not go and talk. Then the other one, something happened where he called yesterday and see, she couldn't make it. But as T-Boy say, a lot of newer faces and newer names. I don't know, maybe we're not popular enough, T-Boy. So sometimes they're not sabi because people recommend, we reach out, and a lot of the time we don't get any response. Some of the time they will just say no. I say the person turned me down is somebody I know very well, and I think say me for be a very good contributor to the topic here. So, but the single can't listen, go able for talk.
Well, for me, I also think say it's not because we're not popular enough, but sometimes people are just not too comfortable for camera platform, but so because some of them are afraid. I don't know if they're afraid of either they're afraid we or they're afraid the platform say, Sarah gave me that platform. Na combo, na so they call it. Just now, what I say combo, problem platform, now the way you get problem. But anyway, that's not the reason why you should stay away, because at the end of the day, we are talking about issues that are affecting all Sierra Leoneans. But that has been one of our biggest struggles. For some reason, we reach out to people that we personally know, we know we personally, both male and female, but especially women, they are happy to watch. They are happy to come and listen. They are happy to make their own small contribution. Even on the chat, some people will never participate on our chats, even though they are watching. And they will call us after the program. Oh, that program was nice. I like it. I enjoyed it. I even played 15, 20 times. Say, but me on a platform and any comments though. So I'm thinking, but why? But you guys are all happy to watch. But why don't you comment? Or why don't you come and discuss some of these issues? And these are some of the issues that are very personal to some of the friends or people that we know that are female, that would have been of great impact, like Femi say. Their contributions on social issues or on platforms like ours will be great because they're able to pass a lot of messages that will come out directly from them. We not able to pass ourselves because until we're not getting knowledge, then until we're not able to get their idea, then they for talk the way how they will possibly express themselves as women, we get issues with some of the topic they already discussed. Even today, it's International Women's Day. And Femi said, Tiboy, how come you not get no woman on the platform? And I'm like, Femi, to be very honest to you, I don't want us to go back to the old people that we always bring on this platform and talk to them every other day. Let's go out and find new people. But they don't show up. They don't want to be part of the discussion. They are happy to watch. Some of them are not even happy to comment. So that is the challenge we don't face for the past, I would say for the past 5-6 years. Even when we go salon, forget woman them for talk. It's a problem. So that's not the question I will get for ask later on as we move along, because again, we go into various different areas that we have to say we for touch on, because those areas are very important for me to touch on them, because if we not touch on them program, the areas in the, I think we're not going to do justice to the program we discuss for celebrate International Women's Day. We're at the 103 International Women's Day celebration this today they happen around the world, and we all don't see the amount of controversy that we don't face. Before we come to the program, there was a huge protest in Mexico, women protesting in Mexico. Again, like I said earlier on, most women all over the world are using this day for various different political campaigns, for gender issues, for discrimination against women and girls all over the world, for sexual harassment, for a lot of stuff where they go against women. So today, before we come to this program, there was a huge protest happening in Mexico by women. Not just in Mexico, but other parts of the world. But Mexico now one part, the one area I feel to say I saw with my own eyes. I'm not going to talk about something we myself not see. And the way how I see the one in Mexico to go on, again, full of conflicts with the security apparatus in Mexico and the people in really come out and protest. It was a peaceful protest, but it is very hard for peaceful protests than they happen now these days because of the kind of issues then it's kind for raise concerns over. In the UK, a couple of years ago during COVID, even though things were extremely difficult, nobody was allowed to commute in groups in any area or any platform, we still see, say, women and come out and protest on this particular day itself. And not just inside England, now something will happen right across Europe. Even when COVID time, Germany also is playing a huge amount of role in terms of raising awareness for gender discrimination. And the reason for that, to me, is sometimes questionable. Why do women go out and protest? Should it be something that they should protest for, or it should be something that they should merit, or they should have as equal as anybody else within the spectrum, whether be you male or female, boy or girl, for as long as you have the same potential and same ability to deliver and perform in any stage, you should be able to be treated as equals. But let's move on. Now, Femi, you want anything for say on that before I move on to the next topic we want to talk about? Right, so we did now go to how can we close the gender gap in leadership roles, both in the private and public sector? First of all, there is a huge amount of gender gap in Sierra Leone. Huge amount of gender gap, especially in leadership roles, meaning we have lesser or few amount of women in leadership positions in various different professions or various different institutions. But look, we go to the private sector. In the private sector, we realize a business is primarily being run by women. Okay, switch trading. Let me be specific. We cannot say business because business is a very big topic. But let me just break them down. So when you go into street trading, we get plenty of money when they do street trading. Why? Are they just only get the capacity for do street trading where somebody else they manage the business for them? Because most of the female traders then what we know, now they man then they manage them business and they go sell and can't hand over to the man in the house. Why? Then I one concern that possibly I get in terms of leadership roles in society, especially in Sierra Leone. Now, when you look at the businesses the way they run a salon, you go into any shop where you feel to say this now, maybe a medium scale business where you feel to say get some structure. Sometimes when you enter into that sort of institution, the first person you go meet, you go at the top, a man, second person a man, third person a man. Then you go begin filter down now. Sometimes the next person where you go feel to say get another position, you go be of something, sometimes go be a secretary. Now, secretary no more money is supposed to be. Because at some point in Sierra Leone, there is no male secretary in any offices. Why? What's making a secretary no more the only position where women for taking a salon? At some point, possibly 20, 30 years back, possibly even now. But the way you make another say so now because we don't begin see the balance of women them, not they be secretary to male bosses them anymore because of the controversy in their relationship. So we don't begin see that barrier, they don't begin broke a little bit. So basically, why do women only take the position of secretaries in various different management structures in leadership roles in the private and public sector? Is it because they are only fit for being secretary? They're only fit for take notes or take take reports or collect information or sit down at the desk, they wait for make their answer. They were basically, I will not say security guards per se, but door women, because you come to the secretary, and then they say wait for the boss not there, or wait for and wait on I will call and tell and see you there. So basically, they were like door women in Sierra Leone. I will not say specifically most of them were secretaries because some of the secretarial duties they will possibly they perform those days not as easy as it is right now. And back again, when you look at secretarial duties of women, maybe 30 years ago was filtered down to the age gap between 35 upwards, or minimum, that would be minimum. I would say minimum average is from 40 years upwards. Now then I've been secretaries to institutions that we get structures. As in, you don't come up from the manager, general manager, assistant manager, accountants, sometimes maybe deputy accountant will be woman, they come out to secretary. So most of them position and they was held by women who were like in their 40s, early 40s, beginning of their 40s, because it means then we don't go school, don't go for a big college, don't do possibly minimal jobs in that area, and then go promote them for become secretaries. Very few, very, very few women were in top positions, I would say 40 years ago. Very few women, because by then, very few women have the opportunity to go to universities, and even when they do, they end up in the teaching fields. So most of them, they kind of classroom canton teacher. And the one way sometimes possibly gets more qualification and get more influence might end up for become secretaries of various different institutions, both private and public sectors. And the one way possibly get more connection, more contacts, sometimes study accounting will be maybe financial assistance now, some banks, we could be like a accounts clerk, something could be like a deputy accountants or something for do with deputizing. Mostly is what sort of positions they will get. And the level done slightly change over the past couple of years. We possibly nowadays see some few leadership roles for women then only in the private sector, as much as we can see, because the private sector is possibly run by individuals or maybe a small scale of individuals coming together and setting up their own business or their own entrepreneur or become entrepreneurs in their own different ways. So we don't realize, say, most women are now in senior positions, but when you look at them positions and the institutions, then they are mostly owned by them. And that is the only change that we've seen so far. Then at the private sector mostly gets a huge amount of women in way they now the top end of the leadership roles in way women they get in a salon. When you look at the public sector, not the private sector, the public sector, they possibly have not a lot. Like I say, there is a huge amount of secretarial duties for women, and there is a huge amount of deputizing positions for women there. And directorship, not much. What we they see more or less now too popular within women, possibly board members for various different institutions. Now the public sector, if we're talking about now, not private sector. Within the public sector, you might have a lot of board members with a woman then. You will get maybe deputies, again, na senior institutions then. And then sometimes now you will begin get few amounts of sex skills then still there, but maybe in a slightly higher secretarial position or slightly higher administrative position, but not so like directors. Then we get a lot of deputy directors, board members, then plenty now ways until you see a couple of women then within those membership. So the public sector still able for open hands widely to women in leadership roles. Femi, what's your take on that? I know say you don't do a lot of work within Sierra Leone on both the public and private sector. If you say women, they don't give them equal share in leadership roles in those two sectors, even though I don't highlight, say, back in the days, women were in positions of authority, but more so to do with the lower end of positions than the top end of the position. Then, but now we see few women then waiting at the top end of the leadership role, but they are mostly in the private sector. So they are like these are own businesses by them. So what's your take on that?
So T-Boy, shame on women them if literally if you're saying that most of these women are making their own way, which is good for them. So kudos to you. If you know, if the man they not give una the opportunity, and I don't go set up on their own business and they thrive, you know, good on you. But again, as I say, shame on we, because in this day and age, we shouldn't be doing that. We should be opening the doors for them. You know, you they talk about when we were younger. You know, T-Boy, you're not a young man. Although you can tell people and say you're a youth. You know, you're not a young man. The tell where you be young, T-Boy, we been to go school. It not a solo number being get that problem there. It was a global problem. Yeah. It still is a global problem, but see, back in the days we did talk about, so it was a major problem. And the reason why I say a problem now, because you know, if we choose a certain number, or if we choose from a pool of people then, and we left the rest out, that means to say we they kind of do we self injustice, because we know they pick the best person for the job. You know, we they pick the best man for the job, but the best person for the job could be a woman. So you know, we need to look at things like that. But as I say, the whole world, even now, if you look at, you know, big business in America, in the UK, in Germany, in Australia, you go see, say, again, the you know, there's possibly 20% representation. You know, I know even things say they don't reach 30% yet. You know, but as I don't really know I don't really have the facts. But the point I try to make is even this side of the world, usai with this, so usai the with the call first wall, usai na the example with the falla, then self not get a right it. they're on their way there, they're working at it, but then self not gets there with it. There's many reasons. Some of the reasons that we people are not put through one of them, a career might span X amount. A woman might take maternity leave for go start a family, and then possibly not come back after I don't begin the family, because she sees it's more important for bring up in family, for raise a child or children, and he look down, they say that's more fulfilling than what he been do before. But the reasons why then sending out there are because, as I say again, because sometimes the environmental side when they work before, they weren't, the opportunities weren't there. She wasn't mentored properly, she wasn't paid or rewarded properly. So when he decides to, well, to go start a family, and we don't begin the family, and I begin think, say, do I go back to work? Do I go back to that place where I not be really ever really fitting, or they didn't really recognize me for the effort I've been putting? I'd rather spend that time with me picking them, blah blah blah. So there's many things. There is you don't school, and you go on a career fair, and then begin tell you, say, una then job you so you for apply for, and they're not able to do that job then because they think that they're jobs for men. So there's many reasons why the private sector and the public sector know they get enough women than they. But as the private sector, no, we not go castigate them too much, because the men build their businesses, and in many ways they should hire who they choose to. If they choose for run their company down the drain because they know how to hire the best person for the job, then that's their problem. But the public sector, then, for me, that's where the problem lies. If we look at, we look throughout Africa, how many female leaders have we had? How many female presidents have we had? How many female people there in parliament with the help we make, we lost them? These are the things. How many top judges do we have that's a female? As we don't talk about, other roles them. There's a lot of directors, as you say. I think, say, the banking field gets a lot of women right at the top, even in Sierra Leone. So, there's some areas them. But as I say, the government sectors or the government roles, they ought to know better. Their organization than their institutions and the government is set up shouldn't be about making money. So literally we should look at the greater good. How will they bring women and come in? How will they build on their waiting and don't get already? How they able for nourish that, and they build, make themselves get development, so that they go able progress further. So government supposed to put all the things in place so that the woman succeeds. Because as I say, we get girl picking them, we go on to one day make them successful in whoever career they take. We not make them go begin meet stumbling blocks and close doors just because they're women. In this day and age, it shouldn't be. As I say, the governments in Sierra Leone, the governments in Africa, in Sierra Leone in particular, then get for look at them also and provide the avenues then for make women they able for reach certain levels, and we at the moment seem for be just meant for men. See where you're muted, we can't hear you.
Thank you very much for that. But just for what you don't say, we will lead me to one of the topics that we'll get now, the subheadings, then we get to do it, an enabling environment for women to succeed in society. What does that really mean? We will say, let we create an enabling environment for women to succeed in society. Do we have an enabling environment for men? And if we do have it for men,
we do.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. If we do have it for men, what should be the enabling environment for women as well?
T-Boy, as I say, we forget the same opportunities the way we get. But you just get for look where you are, look around you, and you know say those opportunities don't exist. I don't know how to say it. Let's look at the whole let's look at we governments. Yeah, let's look at we governments. Let's look at we ministers them. I need to talk about parliamentarians. Let's look at ministers them. How many ministers in Sierra Leone do we have that's a female?
Good question, because I can't answer that one the next, since you don't mention it.
How many women do we have? How many positions? Because then in the now governments they appoint, don't you so?
Yeah.
You want to tell me say we have 60% or 58% women in Sierra Leone, but yet there is very, very few women the way we government see capable of holding some ministerial jobs. So that's what I'm saying. So we're not creating the enabling environments for make women succeed. We have to lead by example. But it doesn't happen. And not to just Sierra Leone, majority of Africa. Even in Europe, we don't begin see a lot of heads of states in Europe being female. In this country as well, we don't get three women leader them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had one in Margaret Thatcher, the Iron Lady, for a long time. We didn't have one, but then we had Theresa May come, yeah, and then we Lily Fabu, Auntie Liz come for small time, but she got there. You understand? She didn't last there, but she got there. Now if we look at how many 50 almost states in the Africa, how many female presidents can we say? Not to one no more.
One no more, Tanzania, I think.
You understand? So that's the point I discovered. Say, it's about time. Say we need to look and begin at points. Yeah, because I know to appoint that Uda you feel say you they go gay. Now you they call say can be minister. I think so you go be good at this job. Can't take. So now one person, the king, now in the talk say, yeah, this position. But then look at parliament. We the general people in society in Sierra Leone, we even when the women stand for position, we know they go vote for them. Yeah, and then to just women them, even some of the women get that specific problem there, because then thinks in another woman she will not do well. We get for land for stand together, as women, if I can use that way, and elect or support and elect that woman day, because we need a change in Sierra Leone in many, many areas, and we don't give man the opportunity for do so over thousands of years. It's about time now for me to be able to open up. I'm not saying we pick the woman just because she's a woman, but let's give them the opportunity. So where they go vote. If you see a woman's name on the ballot, or if you know see that woman need to go stand at your constituency, maybe do your research and see who's kind woman that need be. Not just say they vote for him because a woman, or you go vote for that man, because we keep doing that. But as I say, our leaders, the way they pick with ministers them, because now we're talking right at the top, yeah. So right at the top. So from picking your running mates, if I can go there, for picking your running mates, yeah. Take picking you. Take picking you ministers them when you get elected. We should have at least, I don't know what the percentage is, but we should have at least 30-40%, if not the 50% we do man and look for.
Well, so far so good in Africa. I think Rwanda has the highest amount of female ministers all over the world, to speak. But since you mentioned government institutions in Sierra Leone, especially in the ministerial positions in Sierra Leone, as the Sierra Leone Parliament, the ministers then we get in a salon where they represent full-blown ministers are possibly 5 out of maybe 29 ministerial positions. Okay, and we get a government where they say then gender equality governments where they give huge amounts of opportunities to women in Sierra Leone, but we only have about 5 full-blown female ministers in the cabinets of 29 ministerial positions. But that's another question we will possibly ask and see what are the possibilities of increasing the capacity. As you clearly say, Femi, now an individual really selects, when the president of the Republic of Sierra Leone, they select the amount of people we want for work with, either man or woman. And if you want to create a gender differences and make women become meaningful within politics in Sierra Leone, I think it will reflect on the amount of ministerial positions we they give to women them or represent. But like I say, now 5, I think 5. But the funny thing, when doing a lot of research today, I'm yet to see an updated cabinet ministers post or cabinet ministers records online na salon. I don't think we have any updated one so far. All the one that we are seeing not even 80% updated. Even the Wikipedia we need to show any kind of form of, even the government institution that we get cabinet ministers, they mean their names and their agenda, still not get the updated one at all. So that was a struggle to find out and see which one will be the most authentic document we go reference to. But the one way I go physically go closer to anything we go reference to would be the Belgian High Commission, their website. And I get possibly likely 70 or 80% of the updated list of cabinet ministers and their names in Sierra Leone. So that's another struggle. But when you talk about enabling environments for women to succeed in society, how do we make the environment enabling enough? We therefore create the facility for them to get equal amounts of opportunities for interviews. We therefore create the opportunity for them, for make them believe, say, everybody is being treated as equals, regardless of your gender. We therefore create the opportunity for make them get access to information, because access to information also is key. Because if you want to make the environment enabled for everybody, you forgive everybody equal share of information. Meaning, you know, just limit the information to man no more, then you expect women for apply. So you know, just do your information sharing to just a sector of the population when I just man no more, because you feel this in a man no more capable for applying for that job day. Because if it's in a man no more, you're able to get that opportunity day. So enabling environment means a lot. What sort of aspects we therefore put in place for making you able to give women the equal share of creating the same opportunities for men? In the enabling environment, we get where women nearly get now, because they get access to sometimes the head of institutions there, where they run the public and private sectors, then make them get direct link for able to get job opportunities. Or now, because of them and man them, they not believe say women they can perform any better than them, they make they get an opportunity. So what are some of the enabling environments women in the cry for? It's a sad thing that we don't have women to highlight some of those enabling environment, but I think it will be very important for make we look at the enabling environment, the way man they get, where women they get in certain areas. What are the criteria for that environment to be an environment where women will be able to walk into and become successful and making meaningful contributions? So that are some of the questions that we will ask going forward, especially when we talk about the issues that women in the face na salon. Now, would they go back to access to information, access to financial support, access to healthcare and education, which is almost the same thing that we are trying to talk about. But let's talk about access to financial support, because we decide for talk say, yes, the public sector they thrive a lot. This public sector they create a huge amount of top-end positions for women, because they are possibly self-owned institutions or self-owned private businesses. The way they run something, I mean, they are the CEO, they are the directors, they are the owners. So basically, they don't have any choice, because they get for sit down at the top of the chain of command. So is it a disadvantage to women? Because the more financial power and support you give them, the more you create leadership role for them. And the more they perform well in those leadership roles, the more they have the opportunity to take leadership positions in the public sector. Is that some of the reasons why we need to see women then they take up positions then because they not get that kind of financial support for back them up in terms of thriving in their businesses or in their form scale of entrepreneurship, when they go out for start maybe in a community, because we don't realize say most women possibly run their own businesses, but at what scale for me them get structured, for me them become directors, for me them become CEOs, at what stage they need for get to for me they go for each other level there. Because we see say yes, women and get businesses they run. Most of them are young entrepreneurs, but they are not structured enough to have a full-blown capacity of an administrative structure where you go give them all them kind of end positions and they. Because if they get the financial support in terms of, for example, banks, how many women do we bank they give loans to where they run their own private businesses in Sierra Leone? Possibly none. Even if they do, they will have maybe a cash 27 within a corner for possibly enabling them to get that particular loan day. So some of the enabling environments they really get access to still get for they at their disadvantage. Because if we have a banking system that refuses to loan young female entrepreneurs, but then we're able for loan man them, where then we'll take advantage of. So okay, local loan man them, but man and still need to pay the debts and they still go unpaid. Why are we not giving that same access? Why will not create that environment for make women able to get equal amounts of loan opportunities, just like men then gets the same opportunities than they. So lack of financial support can also drive to the discrimination of gender leadership roles in Sweden, because again, if women don't have access to have loans from banking institutions in Sierra Leone, then it is likely to say they will not be able to run a proper business. And to be honest, for run a small scale business is quite different from running a full blown or middle end business structure where you get all the administrative structures put in place for make that business they thrive. How many female entrepreneurs that we get in a salon, where I say proper, we get institutions then we will say this institution is owned by a woman, we possibly they employ a minimum of 50 staff or above. We either have maybe none or few. None or few. But if we have few, who are those women? And how did they get to the position that they are right now? What's in the advantage and disadvantages they will then face before they get to the position then they. So we got to begin to look at the amount of discrimination where they exist, not to just on this particular issue we talk about. So when innovation and technology, when the theme for this year, we got to begin to look at various different things then where they affect women then. So I don't mention access to information. Well, access to information and access to finance, enabling environment for women to succeed. And then you get the major one where now the sexual harassment. Sexual harassment has been another issue where they make women not get to the top of the ladder in terms of leadership roles in public and private sector in Sierra Leone, especially in Sierra Leone. And we don't see most of the female organizations they within a salon, they only focus on gender harassment, sexual harassment, domestic violence, but there are so many other areas that women can occupy their energy on. Why are they just limiting themselves in that particular area? Because when women run organizations in Sierra Leone or NGOs and anything for do with local community development projects or fundraising activities, then it get for be on gender-based violence. It get for be on sexual harassment. It get for be on abuse to children and women. But there are other areas of support. Example, support young female entrepreneurs. We don't see that happening in Sierra Leone. We don't see women coming together to develop entrepreneurship for women in Sierra Leone. No, we don't see that. Support women in positions of trust. For example, elite women in Sierra Leone come together, maybe something within the entertainment industry, try for give themselves power for me to be able to get positions of trust, galvanize and working together as a group of Sierra Leonean women with intellectual capacities, we'll be able to make them grow within society and use their ability for deliver. We don't see organizations like that anymore in Sierra Leone. We don't see them at all. If they are, we possibly not get access to them, or then possibly not they exist, or then but they are not funded properly for able to execute them duties them well, and reach out to many other young entrepreneurs or young people they ready for take positions of trust within society. So we get a lot of disadvantages than we women in the good school as alone. So for celebrating International Women's Day, like I said earlier on, should not just be today. It should be something that we should be working on every other day, because women contribution within society has been great so far. Now let's go into some of the changes in developmental activities that really happen within the community as women. What are some of the developmental activities they really put in place for make a difference and create an impact within their societies? Femi, you can name any few if you can. I know that would be very much of a challenge, but I want to see how I can sketch your brain on that. What are some of the developmental activities the women know make contribution towards in Sierra Leone? We could be benefiting all Sierra Leoneans within their own small communities they within there.
T-boy, I don't like your business. You can do the Juma for me. No, but before we go and I'm just one done that last topic quickly. You they ask say you've been they ask say why the NTS not the be. First of all, T-boy, if you go na workplace and some of the conversations the way they happen in the corridors, by your desk, not a conversation the way you are hearing and make you feel uncomfortable, do you think you would stay? So you see, there's little things that we, society does, man, and they do, where they know they realize the effects. Some of the conversations, some of the language they would use might not be welcoming for women them. As you say, you might not mean in any bad way, but if you imagine you get an institution which we get majority man and then the boss wants to do good and he employs a few women. Imagine now in a country like Sierra Leone, all of a sudden you have all the alpha male they are so within at the workplace every single day. All of a sudden, a handful of young, not necessarily young, a handful of women come and the attentions then go to the woman them, and not because they want to mentor them, because they have other agendas in mind, other things, and they begin make passes at their woman also. And sometimes some of them not nice, but some of them might just be some guy likes, but not necessarily say the woman like you in return. So and you not get to do anything too wrong for make that woman feel uncomfortable. We na Nicodemus boy. We walk the streets at night. Yeah, there's so many times I am coming home and there's a woman walking in front of me, and because it's dark, the woman they feel, not to say I mean her any harm, but na middle net and the place dark and sometimes the road na something na no more they and mirror they next to them. So little things like that, and they will get for be conscious of the environment and waiting and how that person go feel. So in my own case, most of the time what I'll double my pace and walk, or I'll cross over the streets and walk. So we therefore make conscious efforts, basically that's how it's got for see when women are within our environment for make them feel make them feel relaxed, make them feel say they're in a safe environment. So if you're in a workplace and you talk a lot of crap, if I can use that word, and you talk, boys talk, we play, we do, and you forget say there's somebody else we might not appreciate than they, then we're not creating that environment for that woman they for stay in that position there. But going back to your question, where you ask me of waiting woman, and I mean really and truly, I am trying to say we have many role models, yeah, in winner woman them. I mean we have one of our, possibly for me, one of the best, I'm going to name names now, which sometimes are not for do because there's thousands of the women doing a great job. But we have somebody like the mayor. I think, no matter how or waiting the mayor do, just because she holds that position, imagine almost other young girls them within a school right now, where go they aspire, say one day I might have that opportunity. You understand? That that mentorship thing there, just because you are who you are. There is one person, she's like Marmite. You want to hate her, you want to love her. In Fatima, our first lady, she's a symbol to a lot of young girls. A lot of young girls see her, say, she's come from, not great beginnings, and she's achieved, so those are, I'll name those two women, but there's thousands more. There's Femi Claudia School. So we talk about, that political figures. Because we see them every day, we hear them every day. There's a strong woman, again, another Marmite. Some people love her, some people don't. You aren't guessing the name, T-boy.
Yes.
We Auntie Sylvia. Auntie Sylvia, she's a role model because she's a strong woman. And from school days, from something kindergarten, we teach we girl picking them for be quiet and feminine like, and no push you way to the
you
front.
have to be boisterous
But
enough.
and that's what I love Auntie Sylvia for. Sylvia Blyden, she wants to roll with the punches. If you're not seeing a man, come in way, and she will show you. That sometimes we'll go begin teach some of girl picking them for be that boisterous, the right word, for be, for girl and go get it. We have other people in the political field like Femi Claudia School, Nyamakoro. So there's many, but as I say, there's women out there. There's thousands of women out there. Some, you talk about teachers them, I went to school both in Sierra Leone and in the diaspora, and trust me, most of my favorite teachers them have been women. They for most of the stuff we are gonna this me small idiasu, they put in them, and some of them, a lot of my family members were teachers, and that salon where you go school, where you misbehave, then they beat you at school so they can't also back then they can't beat you. So and the woman teacher them, they always been get either family to me, or they go school or college with me mama them, and we look down, I think, say at the teaching profession in general in Africa, but it's such an important profession because we are who we are today because of the teachers them. In majority of we get forgive, big thumbs up to some of their educationists them. We actually create who that we be today, which we call we safe. So there's many more. I'm not gonna name you them and name the factor they don't do, but there's loads.
All right, thank you very much, Femi. Again, you still not answer my question, but but the question I would like to ask you now: what are some of the roles that women have played in the developmental activities in Sierra Leone? I highlight earlier on, say we get a lot of female entrepreneurs there, or we get a lot of young girls that we involved in community work. We get to do a lot with gender-based violence, sexual harassment, prostitution to young girls, bringing girls out of the street. But we don't see a lot of that over the past couple of years, decades and decades and decades now. I think then for beginning change that trajectory, for beginning going to something totally different now, my suggestion, I'm not saying that is what you should do, but I think my suggestion should be empowering young girls in leadership positions. I remember, I think 7 years ago, there was a group of Sierra Leonean girls who were putting together women conferencing. And then women conferencing in the now for bring young entrepreneurs together and try for link them up for the able for collaborate with each other in terms of changing the atmosphere of how young entrepreneurs then they step into the industry. So I feel say that's not been something where I've been like, because it's been bring come young professionals them together and try for enlighten them and try for create more jobs opportunity for the one who get the qualification but might not have the access. So it was quite different. So it's different from the norm when the gender-based issues then. Because when you look at the gender-based issues then, organizations like that in Sierra Leone are many, plenty of them. But how many of them are doing successfully well? Because to me, as far as I'm concerned, most of them are individual-based organizations run by just one person or maybe two, maximum three. And if you look at entrepreneurship, we haven't seen much women coming together and setting up businesses. For example, we know they see young women, they get something, maybe career in law or career in medicine for set up their own farm. It's very difficult for see.
Yes, because I want to interject here and you know.
I don't think that's something that you mean.
I want to interject here and I'm going to name another fabulous young lady in Sierra Leone. Her name's Nikki Spencer Coker. She's got a law degree and she's been on the air for God knows how long. She's a breath of fresh air. She's a mentor to many young girls. We want be we want into entertainment. She's a radio presenter. You know, so she's got a law degree. She's a lawyer and she's a presenter. So you see, I just want to say that no more. So there's thousands of women out there. And talk about law. There's Basita Michael. There is, you know, we have them. I'm not saying we don't, but you know, again, going back to the beginning, Tina asked we a question. He say, "Usa the umanindi." You know, some people are saying, "Why are you guys talking?" But guess what? I think say for make we actually give woman then platform here, so a man's voice has to be there as well. And that's, I think, is what we're missing in Sierra Leone. Most of the organizations, so Tiba, we name, have women at the forefront, which is good. That's what we want to see. But we should encourage men to be part of that conversation day. Because if men are not part of that conversation day, they will never understand the role or the power we then get for help the situation. You know, it's easy to just sit down at us, sit down somewhere else and don't be part of it. I do hope see some of the activities as will take place today in Sierra Leone. I'm hoping that the majority of the audience wasn't just women, that we had men there to listen to some of the problem we're doing and then go through and learn so that they can be able for actually do something more than they in their own small area them of influence.
That's not one thing we are totally, I would say 110% they are against, because when you have female organizations and then the focus not just on women, I think it really creates the environment for make man they understand the importance of voting the one for highlights to men in particular. Because if you have women in leadership positions we full of men as part of the organization, they will be able to see the capacity of women delivering in those top positions. But for me, the question we are the time for emphasize on now the fact say yes, we have female lawyers in Sierra Leone, young female lawyers in Sierra Leone, middle-aged or old female lawyers in Sierra Leone. But I'm not sure, I don't know, but I not feel say we get female law firms run by maybe a couple of female CEOs. We could say, okay, I can't open a law firm. They employ lawyers. Now me firm why they can't create. They can't open a medical institution full of maybe 5 or 6 doctors run by a female doctor, maybe. They can't open an accounting firm owned by a woman, an accounting firm run by a woman. They can't open an insurance company run and owned by a woman where they employ male as well as female. They can't open a supermarket chain we go employ man and woman, but now woman own that kind of business. And they can't open what else should I say? We get some kind of and they can't open a couple of media houses, and they can't open a TV station, a radio station, something for do with female empowering institutions, not just small scale businesses. Because if we not get those sort of female empowering institutions, then it will be a massive big struggle for make we understand, say, women and get for the in the position of trust in high capacity. Because, for example, if we get female lawyers in Sierra Leone and we not get no law firm we owned by a woman, then what is the equality there? Because again, for make you get the balance of equality, you for equally ready for take share and ownership of getting the balance of equality. Because if we get a couple of law firms owned by women, then they begin to see the reason why we forget so many female judges. Then we begin to see the reason why we begin to look at few women where they take senior positions within the law firms in Sierra Leone or within the legal system in Sierra Leone. We don't see one or two really, but not much. And we get a huge amount of them. Why are they just focusing in business law? Why are they just focusing in family law? Why are they not coming into the criminal aspect of law? Why are they not coming into the challenging side of law than just focusing on the areas where they feel seen at the number them for day? When it comes to the medical field, engineers, also we have female engineers in Sierra Leone, but how many female engineering firms that we are aware of in Sierra Leone? Either possibly none, or maybe all the engineers in our salon, they work under some kind male-run engineering firm where they're not able to get certain positions because they're not women there. They not believe in that capacity. But if we don't see women not begin to take up then challenges, then they for set up businesses then like this kind of nature, then we will begin to see the career differences part, wherein you could get an engineering firm owned by a woman. Not one, not two, not three. Then the capacity of women, they begin to increase. Again, we talk about innovation. I'll come into that very soon, but I just have to see what in are the other development areas then we women will play active role in. For example, why don't make them few examples in this show? So not for say the areas of social intervention as in gender-based violence, sexual harassment, teenage pregnancy, and all that stuff, they're not important too. Yes, they're important. But most of them are self-run institutions. Most of them are self-run entrepreneurship. Most of them are self-run businesses. They need to create more employment capacity for men and women. Or they're not going to see the potential of those women in those positions for be CEO of what? A gender-based organization with something that 2% nobody want. And then they equally tell you, say, oh, Namina the CEO, or Namina the owner of an institution, we just get maybe 1 or 2%. Everybody else is a volunteer. So they need to see the kind of structural empowerment where you get within yourself for able to run that business day. But if you tell me, say, oh, you have a law firm and you're a woman and you're a female lawyer, you get 5 or 6 lawyers then we attached to your firm, 3 na man, 2 na woman, or 3 na woman, 2 na man, then believe in that you're the head. That shows leadership. Or that shows leadership control in you, or it shows the leadership potential you get for run that law firm. Because it's not just about you being a lawyer, but you can also run a law firm, which means you're able to run all the administrative structures surrounding that law firm. Again, engineering departments. How many engineers then who we get engineering firm in a salon? Possibly none. Medical field, how many medical doctors would honestly don't come together, don't form their own small trust for put together a couple of doctors, then go say we want to do something in this health sector for change the gender discrimination? Possibly none. How many accountants they all don't see, we could decide, say, okay, we open your own small accounting firm for deal with small scale accounting businesses, then we want a salon? Possibly, I haven't seen none. So are we just complaining for say we for celebrate women, but how much work are the women also doing in terms of celebrating themselves and creating more opportunities for themselves? I think we get to look at that back as well and look at the possibilities of enhancing their potential in career paths, in career development, in areas that they can use to develop the community and make it more meaningful to everybody else, especially for women in Sierra Leone. And if you watch, you just watch Sierra Leone Media live again on YouTube and Facebook in one of our flagship programs, when How Do You Go Inside the Republic. But today, we celebrate International Women's Day. Femi, I see the smile for cool. What is the smile for? You are for coming. Because now my own concerns then the one in terms of developmental project that we could change the activities of women in Sierra Leone. I don't know what you think about that.
Well, T-Boy, I think the accounting field, over the years, even from when we were young, there were women in there. There were a lot of women in there. But I don't know the stats. I'm sure it could be better, but that's one of the fields that you address just now. I think Dandy, at least I will say then try, but I said again, our government is the biggest employer. Yeah, it's far bigger than any private sector workers, so or firms. So I think that day we get for begin this conversation. We get for provide the opportunity for women for council. If we don't do that, we do we self a disfavor, because we're not picking the best person, the best minds them for their roles there. So it's not going to be an easy thing, because as I said to you, T-Boy, it's a worldwide problem. But we have to start. We get for begin. You mention Boku Industries them, and you criticize them all. I'm asking you, if now you been Dede, what would you do different than the guys are doing at the moment? What do you go do different? Because most of the time it's easy to point fingers, but I think so we all get for look within and say, if I had that opportunity, what would I do to open then the motia so we see or we think say look for women?
Good question. I think personally, the reason make they highlight all the kind of disadvantages they have to women, and specifically in the industry they were mentioned. Now, because we possibly yet to see the move where sometimes one or two of them don't possibly try for it. Because I don't think it is that difficult. I don't think there are barriers stopping women from owning their own law firms. I don't think there are barriers stopping women from owning their own financial institutions, like their own small business firm they wouldn't go out for puts together. I don't think there is any law in Sierra Leone stopping female engineers or engineers for puts together an engineering firm. I don't think there are laws in Sierra Leone stopping women from making puts together their own small-scale medical farm, for example. So now some of the things that is what they therefore highlights. Not to say there is a law where they stop them from participating in all those areas in terms of creating their own niche industries in all those industries. I think it's either the mindset or the level of enabling environments where possibly they feel they not get, make them they limit themselves for just work alongside male-run institutions.
I don't agree.
Okay.
I don't agree. I can't accept say you blame them for Dandy. Yes, there might be a few way limits themselves, but majority of the time, T-Boy, it's what men have done. Now, waiting man they don't do, and waiting man they not don't do. More important, yeah. You're saying, which firms, there's no law. Yes, there is a law. It's not a written law. It's not the laws of Sierra Leone, but now the code where demand them, then they go under. Now like a secret society. If you're not one of us, you can't come here. That's it might not be a written law, but now the law than the way we brother than they follow. And we don't get any from our granddads, our fathers, now the next we picking them. So we need to change then so I say it's not a written law, as you say, but there is I made them call them, even with man they call them the glass ceiling. Not glass because they see them. They see the barrier we did it, but the barrier did it. and it's up to us to for break that barrier there and give the Umayaso the opportunity. By the way, there's 2 female presidents in Africa. You see, I don't go do me research. Actually, somebody can go me.
Tanzania,
Tanzania, Ethiopia, but
Ethiopia.
she's a quiet lady. Yeah, so check it out. So anyway,
current.
So T-boy, do your homework. I say they don't can beat me. It's just so they tell me say we not don't try. But as I say, it's you're right. There is no law, but there is a glass law. The law we man they don't create, we they keep them in that position. And they intend not to teach you. They don't teach you for more the kindergarten, and that's the problem. We're raising our boys up with that same mentality there. Yeah, so in 20, 30 years time, we'll be having these same conversations. So we need for change, Dandy, and we need for change from, as I say, governments need for stepping for puts in the policies in place so that we will safeguard them with women there, so for able for reach them potential. Oh, by the way, T-boy, there might not be a law firm, I don't know, but there's an organization selling called Lawyers. And I believe say then a majority of them, if not all of them, na woman lawyer them.
Is it the Sierra Leone Association?
No, I say an organization called Lawyers. So
Lawyers.
Yes, it stands for something. Associate somebody now the chats go educate wages now. But they stand for women's rights. So if woman get problem and not get money or they can't see and these
yes,
come
it is
and will fight their case.
It's not lawyers, it's advocate.
All right, yes. Thank you.
Advocate is an institution that is put together by female lawyers in Sierra Leone, and they support female issues. Again, this is not the problem. I don't highlight it. I want to say it should be, because when you have female organizations just run for female only, man, they need to see the advantage of what women do towards society. So advocate has been around for a couple of years, possibly 10 years or so. And it is run by 2 strong female lawyers that I know, and I've worked with them in Sierra Leone for a couple of years in putting together information. Now then starts this law where then being passed, bail is free. There is no price for bail. Bail is free. So waiting that the issue with them been get around bail, and the fact say many women they suffer the consequences of not being charged to prison, they need to give them bail. So now they start that campaign for make people aware say bail not free. So advocate, yes, is in existence, and then female lawyers together, not in 2. Then we get one other international female lawyer will be joining, will be also Kenyan. One Kenyan lady, then we get an office in Pademba Road, somewhere along Pademba Road, or I don't know whether it's still there anyway. But they were doing very well, and they were actively involved in working for disadvantaged women who have cases in courts, or where they don't unlawfully arrest, or where they discriminate against. Possibly, then they go for them case and free young girls and women who possibly not get defense for defend them in some of the cases they really face. So yeah, advocate they exist. But again, like I said, they only deal with gender issues and they only deal with female issues. But the disadvantage of that, now the fact say, if them open them book to male victims, then we possibly get the same kind of amount of discrimination because they not get lawyer for defend them, or they don't unlawfully arrest them. Then the man then waiting to go defend, go able for then at the position for talk on behalf of what women in the do for change the gender discrimination in civilian. Because yes, you have for work on the platform where go give you equal opportunities. But if your service system we provide is limited to just women, then that is not an equal opportunity services. Yes, we know for say women disadvantage them in so many areas in Sierra Leone. But if you able to give access to the man where they discriminate against women, then for see the reason why they should not discriminate against women. What about you, Femi? As you raise your hand for say something.
Yeah, so I hear you again, but I'm going to be devil's advocate. Yeah, in America, during the civil rights thing, then gets them black lawyers. So, yeah, then they stand up for the black man them. That is your priority, T-boy. Yeah, we can fight other people in fight, but we need for stand up for we self and fight we own fight, especially when the resources not do for go far. So I beg now for take time how they castigate the woman there, the woman lawyer there. So because they have possibly limited resources. Something like their own pockets and them their resources they need to come out for make them do it and they do. So you can't stretch it too far. So their focus is woman them. You can't hold them responsible for the whole country. You know, the judiciary is supposed to do their work. Yeah, and if there's people in jails, they shouldn't be in jails. If bail is not being set right, the government of Sierra Leone with the judiciary of Sierra Leone need to do their work and sort them TSO out. But you can't blame a few women that we can together, stick together, provide them services them for free. We cannot forget that they have families to feed. Yeah, but then they go do them pro bono. You know, then they go do them for, you know, for support then compete woman them. I think we should praise them for that and not castigate them. And I know my band say. And going back to, you know, entertainment, you really talk about entertainment and media. There is a lady who's brilliant. We did a funeral the other day. She was the MC there. Do you want to name her, T-Boy? In Sierra Leone. She's like a public speaker. She's a journalist. You see, I don't lose you. Just like I will lose, but I'll come back to you. Just think about that, Andy. But there's tons.
Potential back against.
There's tons of women doing a great job. I'll come back to you. I'll remind you. You go say, oh yes, we were with her just last week. Last week Sunday, for be precise. The event will cover in a salon. And she was there. She's doing a great job. She's on social media a lot, and she's a role model to a lot of young girls. You know, so certain things not to just the money, yeah. Now the especially in this day and age of social media, it's what you do, waiting the young people and see you do. Those are the more important things.
Okay,
keep thinking. They come back for the name for you.
No, I don't think I'm not going for remember right now. But you trigger me again. But what you did say earlier on, I am not castigating the lawyers for advocate for the work that they are doing specifically for women. That's not what I'm saying. And I'm not castigating women for specifically focusing on rendering their services to women only. I am not saying that is wrong, or I am not blaming them for doing that. I am not holding them responsible for just focusing on women. Yes, of course, I know they have limited resources. They're mostly funding themselves in terms of what the amount of work they're doing within community. But what I therefore say is there is a discrimination part already. We will all understand. And we want to make man them understand, see, you cannot discriminate against we, because we get equal amount of opportunity, we get equal amount of power, we get equal amount of strength, we get equal amount of ability for perform. Almost equally the same duties we only perform as men. We might not be of the same gender, we might have some amount of differences in our abilities to perform at some point or at some level. But when it comes to intellectual capacities, I think we should be equals. And when it comes to delivering our intellectual capacities, I think we should be able to be equals as well. When you make mention of the American civil rights movement being supported by women, or men are supposed to be on the front line.
No, not said by women. No. They are said by us, as in black people. So black lawyers were supporting, you know, black people of color. And what one say, I think they stretched and support white people, but majority of the time were for us, because we not been get that representation there. So they came out to support black people. And that point I just want to make in their woman there, so really talk about, so their primary role is to support women. And we can't hold them responsible for what whatever else happens in our courts, in our prisons in Sierra Leone.
Okay, I know the old and responsible. I understand the points they make, but what thing I try for highlight also that the fact say we want to create a balance now. So, like you mentioned earlier on, the difference between equity and quality or quantity is quite different. So what do we look at now? Now, the amount of issues they weigh and they tackle within their communities, yes, they are primarily working within the female sector of whatever they do, which is fine. But I'm just saying you have to possibly create some amount of room and not say there are limited resources. Because if man then says, look, we need support woman, we need support man no more, then the gender-based thing goes to be huge. It goes to be huge. So we know how to make we create that kind of difference today. So all I'm saying, my opinion might not be correct, but I'm just saying if I cater for only one community, typical example, Black Lives Matter. Yes, Black Lives Matter, but every other life matters as well. But the reason that Black Lives Matter became something we spread out all over the world, that because of the disadvantage being taken over Black people within America and most parts of the world as well. There is a huge amount of discrimination against ethnic minority, not just Black people, but people of ethnic minorities. They will come on a different part of the world. We don't belong to that particular community. We are the majority. So the reason of Black Lives Matter was focusing on Black people, but they bring in different kind of opportunities now for people that were at disadvantage. So it's not just about Black people anymore, but people that have been taken advantage over just because of their race. So not just Black, but other races in America specifically. So now that kind of same example I try for make. Yes, we have a priority to deal with gender issues in Sierra Leone. So we are gender organizations, so we're just going to focus on this amount of gender issues there. But we'll therefore also look at the other areas of gender issues. There were not so just the mainstream gender issues. There were sexual harassment, prostitution, gender-based violence. I mean, we therefore begin to look at other professional areas. Then we get career parts of gender discrimination, leadership roles in Sierra Leone. Look at the advantage being taken over women in Sierra Leone. How many women organizations have stood up for those women in those sort of positions where they don't take advantage of? We see few. But if we say we need to celebrate women, we need to forget that blanket celebration for women, regardless of your status, of who you are, or where you're from, or what party you belong to, or what career party you belong to, or what part of Sierra Leone you're from. It will be something we'll get for look at holistically and say, we advocate for women in Sierra Leone, regardless of who you are, where you're from, what you do, or what political party you belong to. We motive now for advocate for women in Sierra Leone. We don't make mention of women in politics. You don't mention few names of women really into politics. We don't face serious amounts of discrimination, serious amounts of police brutality, serious amounts of other kind of harassment, sexual harassment, even more. From the one that we publicly don't state them, and from the one that we publicly not possibly make mention of that. But what happens? What are the female organizations doing in Sierra Leone for celebrate those women? Today is International Women's Day. How many women do we celebrate as women in Sierra Leone? How many Sierra Leonean women we don't sing praises for within the political sector, within the entertainment industry, within the other industries that we possibly will not see, within the legal departments of Sierra Leone, within the law firms, within the security apparatus, the police force, the military? How many women have we celebrated? Really? Let's be honest. As International Women's Day in Sierra Leone today, almost women then we don't celebrate as Sierra Leonean women. Or how many women will we sabi within a position of trust in Sierra Leone will for celebrate? Or how many women they will feel to say need for be recognized today and sing praises of their hard work for the contribution they will not make us alone? Yes, we're sitting down here, all male platform, but we not get women the way the carton on behalf of women. But we've been doing this for decades. indiscriminately. We've been doing this for decades. We've been talking about gender issues on our platform for decades. Every other day, every other month, every other year. So to we, it's not just today that we want to celebrate women. We want to do this every day. Then we could always call on women for calm and be part of the discussion, because we're not forgetting involved. We're not just singing and praising or celebrating women because it's International Women's Day. No, you have to be seen doing the work yourself. Una for sit down and discuss some of the issues there. So we're pertaining to Women Day. A couple of months ago, they don't discriminate against political women in Sierra Leone. We did not manage to put together a female platform because nobody wants to talk about it. No woman within our own community was willing to come and defend those women, was willing to come and support those women. None. So we therefore begin to think of what we prioritize. Yes, we want the gender issues to be prioritized, but how much of that work we want to put in as women? Over to you, Femi.
Tibo, there's many women that we should celebrate. You know, there's many women that we should celebrate. You know, I'll name one. One of we guests, and we don't care on our platform a few times. Them Florence. She's now in the States. She's been recognized in the States. She's been put on a panel of international speakers. You know, we should celebrate people like that. She introduced us to a young lady where they try to do some STEM projects in Sierra Leone. You know, there's plenty of women, you know, what we can name. We Auditor General. I mean, come on. You know, a beacon of hope for we women them. But all the way it goes through at the moment, I should say there's so many young ladies in Sierra Leone, young girls in Sierra Leone are thinking, wow, one day I'd like to be daddy, I'd like to be like that. Mommy, I'd like to be like that woman. You know, there's plenty woman that we get responsibility. I will begin name some, then you will get me into trouble because I'm not going to name the rest. You know, my sister Maima Kamara, you know what she does for you know, not my sister but a friend, a very close friend, what she does for you know, the whole beam, the lights, solar lights. You know, she left the UK, she went to Sierra Leone, terrible them project there, so, and now we see her flying the world, you know, explaining but the advantages of having lights for where you picking and kind of osna net so that then Google study on the lights. She's pushing these solar lamps. You know, there's plenty of women we should celebrate. You know, Vicky Remo, you know, again, another young lady with thousands, if not millions of young Sierra Leonean girls aspire to be like. You know, there are many. You know, another sister, Ellen Kister. You know, she's been there, done that. You know, she's there. There is there's way too many men. If I begin naming that, I say I'll get myself in trouble. But I still wait for you for that journalist where we work with last weekend. She was the a Wako bingo, a vigil. She was the presenter there. I'll give you her surname. It starts with a J. You know, remember? Asma James. She's not terrible. She's again. She's, you know, she's out there. You know, I say for me, you know, it's when Barack Obama became president. You know, for me, even if he didn't do anything for black people after that day, just the fact, say it's him up there as a black man, as the president of the biggest nation at the world. Imagine how many young boys them and young girls them think, say, wow, so it is possible. You know, that's in the, it's something. Our mayor, as I say, we you know, you look at these women and you think that, wow, I want to be that woman one day. We need dancing in day, and we man then supposed to support the woman in day so that their voices can go further and not just bring them down like what they do in a salon.
All right, thank you very much for me. Definitely, yes. My mind goes to Asma James, but I would be the one that say Other than this possible family talk. So yes, Asma James has made serious contribution within the journalistic world in Sierra Leone, especially in
Radio
broadcasting.
Democracy.
Hmm?
I say the radio station. Is it Radio
Yeah,
Democracy?
in broadcasting, which is the radio station. Yes, I believe say in work we don't do within Sierra Leone has been great in terms of pushing gender issues within the broadcasting line. I not say there have been few female broadcasters in Sierra Leone, and not that much way you could possibly highlight as household name. But yes, Asma has been one of them. So definitely, yes, you go then the category of woman where you go celebrate na salon. Like you say, instead not a mama, it's really like or you know, like you get young controversy with around them, but at the same time, she's a woman that is pushing the gender issue in Sweden, which is good. And we get huge amount of people and also with all over the world they push gender issue. But like I say, the gender issue sometimes can be controversial. Sometimes it can be challenging. Sometimes people are not going to talk about them because they're afraid to or not for offend woman. But we get for offend women for make them understand their positions in society, which is they should be fully committed and fully on board. Yes, there are women who wants to be fully committed, but they are not given the opportunity. But you don't have to sit back and wait for that opportunity. You have to go and grab it. Because if you not grab, go get them, then the challenges that you get for face in life is greater than what you're expecting. But the theme for this particular year celebration for International Women's Day, now innovation and technology for gender equality. How will this work in Sierra Leone? Right, innovation. I think we have, when we get the current the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, President Julius Maada Bio, we can take office in 2018. It bring somebody in advisor to the government for innovation and technology. Can you imagine? When Dr. David Singer, it bring specifically for create the differences in innovation and improve technology in Sierra Leone. And guess what? To be amazed, the first thing we introduced now the State House of Sierra Leone was a 3D printer. And I'm thinking, 3D printer? But guess what? In the UK, you get younger school-going girls, not to man them all, school-going girls, young school picking them, woman school picking, we put together in lunch way in Ganibidi Gam. It decide, famous if I don't mix it. We put together in lunch way in Ganibidi Gam. It decide for innovate a 3D printer for do face mask. The shield, the face shield where doctors then they use, nurses then they use in London during COVID. This now, I think the picking have been 8 or 12-year-old girl picking. Now innovated 3D printer for do face shield. Why? Because he want for help in community, nurses them for be protected. Wise then they go for work. And we own innovation and technology experts bring come a 3D printer for introduce now the State House of Sierra Leone. I don't know what has been the use of that, but if the president they think about innovation and technology 4 years back, it means it was something very important to him. And if it is something that was very important to him, how has that changed the dynamics of innovation and technology in Sierra Leone as we speak? But there was a global issue on technology improvements, which means in Sierra Leone, I would say 1 in 4 teenagers maybe have a mobile phone. Not just have a mobile phone, but have access to the internet basically online. And we talk about improving the gender-based issue by using innovation and technology. 10 years ago, we had a creative industry in Sierra Leone where there been women and women in our Watalo, where they train specifically for build solar panels. They call them Bigfoot Women Organization, or so they made it somewhere around Watalo. This was 10 years ago. This was 10 years ago. It was not a theme for the United Nations to say we need for improved innovation and technology for reduce the gender gap all over the world. But 10 years ago, we had an institution run by women where they put together solar panels for create energy. And that has been a concern within my mindset, thinking if there is an ideology of women in Sierra Leone 10 years ago for put together solar panels, where for the way them for they manufacture from scratch, they went to India and got themselves trained and flew back to Sierra Leone, and then they opened an institution where they manufacture solar panels. They call them Bigfoot women, if I can remember. It still they exist? I don't know. That's a question. Possibly somebody else go there, we go nobody and we go tell me whether that still exists or not. But when we talk about innovation, how many inventors do we have in Sierra Leone that are women? How many young girls they would don't start for put together for be creative within the industry? Because technology industry gets a lot to do with creativity and invention. Go on, Femi. I know you want for interject me again.
Just I think you say, creative. No, you say creative woman. Them. I mean, come on, T-boy. Okay, again, look at the entertainment industry. Fantasy Wiz. Really and truly, she's very creative. And what I love about her is she knows how to stand alone. And what I mean by she doesn't follow the crowd. They follow the how most of our selling and see entertainment and music these days. She sees it different. So she does her thing, and she's a leader, and people follow her. So I'm just want to interject, and we see woman them and creativity. They're very creative people, T-boy. We just get to give them the avenue for showcase that creativity there.
But this is not the exact reason why make her bring the minister or the government advisor for innovation and technology. Because if we have a lot of creative mindsets, civil unions, especially young girls, really within their own different industries, then we'll be able to foresee an increase in those sort of creativity. Because there is no need to bring in an expert for change certain industry if the industry is not going to be effective for everybody else. For many believe, say, this industry don't come, you don't change the lives of people. So if we decide for, say, let's use innovation and technology for bringing in gender equality to Sierra Leone, we got to begin to think how will they apply them? Whose side will they begin for apply them? Technology possibly have tried a little bit, because technology don't help for enhance, as I said earlier on, people that will not get the potential for open bank account, for get the access for do mobile banking. And the mobile banking system has been proven to be very effective in most parts of Africa, wherein they use greatly for transact businesses them within reach and within areas that we're not able for reach physically. So mobile banking has changed the dynamics of banking system in some parts of Africa. And in Sierra Leone, it don't help as well. Many petty traders will not get education background for many able for open bank accounts now the mainstream banking system. Get the opportunity now for get the online banking system now through the mobile banking system for transact business, send money, pay for them picking a school fee, pay for forms, pay for anything else they want for pay for through mobile money transfer. So technology don't slightly begin to improve the lives of women within the rural areas. They don't begin to improve the life of traders, female traders, then we want for transact with different people that you possibly not physically able to meet. The other area where technology don't improve the capacity of women in Sierra Leone, now the use of social media platforms. Yes, we have so many female, well, I would say so-called bloggers, because they're yet to be bloggers as far as I'm concerned. They are social commentators on social media. Because the reason make I say so, now the fact say we know they just rush for do something, we get for begin sky for learn the basics. So as much as technology they improve, we were also able for join the trend of creating our own small impact in terms of the knowledge we get, in terms of creating our own platforms. Because when you create a possible better platform for do what you want for do, you generate a different form of audience. We go follow you for one or two reasons. But like Tony they say earlier on in the charts, there is a huge amount of controversy in the female industry when it comes to reality TV shows. We see the impact of what they go on with the social issues of very much disturbing, because there have been a lot of challenges in abusive languages being shown here and there, challenging, chastising each other and making comments about each other. We know really they push that particular industry there per se. And it's mostly being put together by women, and we don't know what's in that they come of motive and initiative behind that way they make it become so challenging. Over to you, Femi. I see the issue in back up.
Yeah, again, I want to beat you rounded. You know, yes, I hear you, I hear Tony, but guess what, T-Boy? You single out one problem amongst many good things happening in Sierra Leone. Yeah, you and tell me, say, I can fend you another industry, women then just cause the same havoc way something and cause yanda. Yeah, but you don't mention those and say that is a problem. No, there's a problem there. We address that problem, but you're not gonna say because there is one problem you tarnish everything with that same brush.
No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not how they say. Again, the try for be specific. We not try for make comparison between male and female issues. We try for enhance the woman area, then we then get lapses on. Now that's actually to say now the purpose of what we do right now. We're not making comparison, because when we make comparison, then there is a huge amount of differences in the way how man do things then compared to woman. Because man they're more destructive in a global sense, man they're more controversial in a global sense, man they're more difficult for dealing with in a global sense. So, but that's not what we're saying. We're not making those comparisons at all. We are just trying to enhance and highlight some of the challenges them and advantages them we women in the face within the industry, because we're talking about International Women's Day. We don't have to make comparison to what women do and what men do. We want to enhance some of the things the women do and highlight some of the challenges them and see how they go able to work on those challenges them and make them become better. So when they make that comparison, they are not for make the comparison between the two people and for say, okay, they just discredit what women do and then they talk about the man side. So that is not what I am saying right now. What I'm saying is we are talking about gender issues. We're talking about International Women's Day. So what in me want for do, not play a devil's advocate, but not for be realistic with some of the analysis they want to make into the areas they want to say women they need for work more on. What are some of the issues that they need for focus on? We're able for cut down this gap of gender discrimination where they happen at salon, and possibly now with communities that will belong to all over the world. So like they highlight some of the challenges that we get. But in terms of technology, they bring down the issues that we women they don't benefit from for create that, for reduce that gender gap there. Because the theme for this year now innovation and technology. Over to you.
So yeah, so on technology, but again, as I say, it's creating the avenue. So I know a young Sierra Leonean living in the UK. Not to say I also born in Bredo. Na salon, he born, he go school, all thing. She works as a what do you call it? You know, the one they can investigate what crime they be. What do you think he called it? Forensic scientists. You know, so you want to talk about, you want to talk about technology. You know, what better is that? That's like future work. You know, I was in an event today. Another young African, not selling this time. Again, not born here. Yeah, she's the lead. She's a head engineer. Yeah, she's a head broadcast engineer. Not in farm. it's because the opportunities are there, and where they look, they possibly, when they were hiring these women, they didn't just pick the first 10 people that we can, because something, as I say, something and a man. They literally looked at their qualifications, looked at their ability, and choose their woman there. So there's tons. Morgan in Sierra Leone, she's I think she's our mayor's sister. She's an engineer, T-Boy, I don't even know side for begin talk. You answer about technology. We have them. We don't have enough of them, but we have them. What we don't have is the environment for allow them so for grow and become leaders in them field then.
Okay, are you talking about those women who are in Sierra Leone or out of Sierra Leone context?
So I mentioned two out of Sierra Leone, one non-Sierra Leone, but one a Sierra Leone. But then I mentioned, I think her name's Trudy Morgan. She's an engineer in Sierra Leone. You understand? So, and that's just one of many. We have them. What we don't have, as I say, we not get the way for push a lot more women into those fields. And then honestly, not to the woman fault. Now we demand them fault. As I say, we government now the biggest employer, now the responsibility for provide and for train the people who come into the industry so that they will able for achieve. Then there's succession planning. So we sabi Africa now, when the owner of this business, when he die, the business die because there's no succession planning. So when you be managers on site, bring you understudy, be it somebody they can study what you do. Why can't that be a woman? So that we pass on the trade to somebody, a woman, we might just do just as good a job as me or you can do. There's many areas them where we can look at and how for improved in our salon. But unfortunately, I believe that there is no desire for that. I believe they demand them, it's a closed shop, then they play with and compliment them in certain avenues, and they not allow a woman into those places. I believe they might not say it, they might not admit it, but it's the truth.
Yeah, and also that's some amount of truth in that. And I think I know we'll just limit them to that amount of truth there, because I think we therefore begin to look at joint responsibility as well. Regardless whether there is no enabling environment for women and for going to certain areas because of women there, but for also no still, you should not relent. You should be able to push, because I will give you an example for them, for example, within this part of the world, for the fact that we are Black, we are highly discriminated against. So basically what we tend to do, we create our own channels, we create our own enabling environments, or not because we are Black, but we're also minority. And we therefore create our own environment for make we able to create sustainable employment within our own community that we have. So like you highlight, Black lawyers in America took up the challenge and supporting all Black people with possibly challenging difficult cases they will get now the court system when they give them the rightful judgment. I think as women who are also ready for think like that as well, because we already know we've been discriminated against because we are women, and we therefore begin now look at what do we need to do collectively for galvanize we leadership, for galvanize we membership, for galvanize we role in society, not by creating separate entities, but trying to work possibly together. I think that is possibly challenging, but I think if we have huge amounts of movement of women carrying the same message, might change that situation. Again, I would say Rwanda has been a flagship for encouraging women to take positions in government positions, to take leadership roles in government. I don't think the president of Rwanda, Kagame, just grab one ear and say, oh yeah, are they employ women and create that difference? It creates the environment for them. And the environments we have to say create for them. Now the one way it give everybody equal opportunities. If women get the capacity, so be it. I don't think they should be discriminated against. But the first thing for us, like you say, in Sierra Leone, the biggest employer is government. So now government for don't create that channel there for make we get an environment we go able for give an open door policy to everybody regardless of your gender. We have seen a huge amount of discrimination to women in Sierra Leone. And I think the specific reason for that now, because they're a woman there, and they not say they're possibly not able to do nothing about it. Then go just sulk and complain and grumble, and that's it. But we'll go for begin look now at how we go able for mobilize women them in their own rights, we're able for stand up for their own rights, we're able for stand up for equality. Again, 30% quota in parliament is nothing. We don't even have 5% of ministerial positions in Sierra Leone. I don't think we even have up to 20 or 30 members of parliament who are women in Sierra Leone parliament. I don't think we do. Political party leadership, I don't think we even have any woman, well, apart from NGC, yes. And yes, no, I know, NGC, yes, NGC. Where they in leadership role as in the forefront, either chairman, secretary general, or publicity secretary, or other major influential positions in political houses in Sierra Leone.
T-Boy, what about Femi Claudesco?
Yeah, and I say I mentioned one or two, C4C and Unity Party. But again, like I say, C4C and Unity Party are mainstream political parties in Sierra Leone, but we all know the kind of influence those two political parties can make in Sierra Leone. We'll talk about the major political parties in Sierra Leone, possibly no one ever gets female leadership. Never. We'll never see that any one of them gets any kind of female leadership. They even encourage women and say for kind of the front will say for contest for any kind of strong key position like a chairperson or secretary general or publicity secretary. So if we're able to forget them for take positions like a Danindi, how will we forget them for take positions of senior stateswomen like a president or vice president or major ministerial positions them? But what thing these current governments do now for appoint women and dump them in positions of authority? So to me, it makes no difference. It's just about calling the shot and then you bonk the shot again. So we've seen many women being appointed in ministerial positions and get sacked for nothing, no reasons, no concern, no explanation, and then be replaced by men. If you've been a sack woman and replaced them by woman, sometimes maybe we will understand, so you want to keep the gender-based differences we will describe for highlights in the country in terms of public and private sectors in leadership roles. So we yet to see those changes to happen. But I think, personally, women in our salon for take joint responsibility, therefore put themselves in the front line, therefore put themselves in the card, therefore make sure say they are available, they are ready to contest, they are ready to participate, not just when called upon. They should put themselves forward for so many positions, then everybody have the right to partake and be represented in those positions. Look, we not shy away for say, oh, me a woman, I'll go for can be chairperson for this party. You know, even look me serious. Who says? Who says? Now, now me a man, I go talk say, oh, I'm not going for I know go take membership now, a female organization. Yes, true. But if the organization is open to gender, then why should I exclude myself because now woman in Bokuli? No. So we practically discriminate ourselves to certain positions because we feel say now woman in Bokuli or now man in Bokuli, so I'm not able for break into that particular area because the gender-based differences they really huge. Now disadvantage to me gender because me a man. Now disadvantage to me gender because me a woman. It's not supposed to be so. We got for equally challenge yourself and say, if the position is open, why not? Again, we don't see few alumni there. Yeah, so we are mainstream male-dominated secondary schools, but their chairpersons are women. So sometimes I want to ask questions, but sometimes I refrain myself from asking questions like, how come a woman they lead an organization? This is not a dominantly male school. If woman get the opportunity for go that school day, now because you go do 6 form day. So possibly you don't spend just 2 years at the school. So I begin to ask questions, what's your criteria for membership, or what's your criteria for positions like these? But they're able to defend the criteria, so it means it's open for all. Whoever have the potential and can campaign and can lead, will lead. No discrimination, which is good. Even though I might want to ask questions, but I think if you make the platform open and there is a woman who has the potential to lead in that capacity, why not? As long as it's an open book criteria, everybody will get the potential, get the ability. There is no discrimination for, see, if you don't attend the school for 5-6 years before you become the chairperson, if you don't attend the school for 7 good years before you become the chairperson, if you attend the school for 1 day, say, if you have the right to become the chairperson, if you have the potential, if you can deliver, if you have the track record of saying you have led 1 or 2 or 3 different organizations and you deliver. So why see them feel there, woman and lady one completely predominant male secondary schools, the alumni in this country, in America, I was shocked. Well, I wasn't surprised, because they turned out to be the iron lady of those institutions, and they were firm in their decisions, they were firm in anything that they were doing, and then they do the work. They're not just sitting down there and taking the positions of authority and don't deliver. Yes, they might have challenges, they might have people who are working against them. Yes, they might have discrimination statements being made against them. Yes, they will begin calling all kinds of funny names, but they steadfast in their positions and maintain and serve until their time is over. So let us not limit ourselves because we normally think so we don't have the capacity, or maybe they will discriminate against you. I think we're finding it very difficult to accept in certain areas. But yes, like I talk about technology and innovation, technology, I think, say, now one sector we possibly don't change the lives of discriminating against women in Sierra Leone, because technology don't make you understand, say, most women now, they use technology to get themselves involved in making a difference in their community. So that is not what we should have concern over. The concern for the theme for this particular year, now innovation. Innovation is in Africa is possibly one of the things that people are able to understand the context behind it. When they say you are innovative, doesn't necessarily mean you have to create something that is highly exclusive of. Even your thoughts can be innovative. Even your business ideas can be innovative. Even your way of executing your duties can be innovative. So when they say innovation, doesn't necessarily mean you have to be creative to create something to be seen physically. I don't think that is what it is. But we have to understand first the meaning of what we have to talk about and how we will apply them in real ways for make things possible as alone. Innovation doesn't necessarily mean invention. You don't have to invent anything new from the drawing board or from scratch. You can innovate others to do things possibly well. So you get to look at the drive. The drive behind what you're doing is what is important. Not physically what you're doing itself, but the drive sometimes can be as important as the physical thing we want to do. So until we understand the ideology behind innovation, they will possibly be able to adapt some into our own context in Sierra Leone. But like I say, we get a whole advice out to the president for innovation and technology, but we haven't seen much of that innovation. We don't make a difference in the lives of people of Sierra Leone, possibly young people, or especially or specifically women. So what some women in Africa are doing in terms of their innovation, now the theme for this year, Now, the way how they try for create an enabling market for the crops then within the group, especially for female farmers. So they try to bring new form of ideas then we're able to apply with the use of technology. For me, they're able to distribute them products them all over the world. For me, they're able to distribute them products them within the country where they produce and stuff then they for. For me, they're able to distribute their ideas them to other farming communities then within and in community. So they try for create, they try for innovate new skills, new ideas. And what they also try for do now how they will create an environment with the ability and the potential of how they will begin say, okay, now we will produce, for example, cassava. What sort of innovation are we going to put in the minds of the people buying this cassava? For example, okay, we want to innovate a new way of transporting cassava. I mean, in Kenya or in some part of East Africa, they try to bring in a new way of transporting drugs, as in medical drugs, or life support mechanism for save lives in our communities. Then they're not able to reach within a shortest period of time. If somebody need a blood transfer, if somebody need a medical treatment, something where the roads to that particular village will take you maybe a couple of hours. They innovate a new idea. And what was that? Drone distribution of drugs within areas that are not accessible by road. Drone. They will actually stuff this drone with the medical supply they want for send at our village day, and then fly them. It takes practically 20 minutes or possibly less than that. When they realize a drone is possibly going to be a challenge, they create another idea. So they innovate a small scale plane, when like a jet plane, where then they shoot to the destination where they want, and if they go to the destination, then it land. These are life-saving innovations them where they put in place for save lives. So as women in Sierra Leone, what can we do in our capacity? Okay, make I not say women, since I will be very biased. What can we do as a nation for create new stuff them we're able to enable women and for contribute towards society with the use of technology? So therefore begin look at how we create the new thing they have so within the communities then for make women able to use in terms of technology for able to create impact within society. So what can this new innovation be? What thing are the thing and we do we have a school for innovation as well? We get school where they train people and how to think. We get school where they train people and how to use their ability, how to put them potential into use. Because everybody has the ability to create something. Everybody has the ability to innovate something within their own lives. But sometimes you need somebody for teach you how you for use that your ability there. You need somebody for give you some amount of direction. Also, go on for make you take that your sense of creativity there. So I wonder why the UN used this particular theme for this year's celebration. Is it because they want to challenge people even more? Is it because they want to see what's at the potential of women or what's at the potential of young people all over the world?
It's currently cloudy and 3 degrees. Expect snow starting tonight and rain in the morning.
I don't know what's in the app with Siri. What's in it? Talk to you. You can't talk to person. All right. But that's not some of the things no more we are try for highlights when it comes to innovation and technology for gender equality in Sierra Leone. How will we be able to work on that? Like I said earlier, we get a big food project we've been there now Watalo, we've been they create solar panels, then we've been supply electricity all over the world. We get young entrepreneurs, then we get scale training, then we need to bring down within the community. We've seen a lot of creativity creative industries, the way they go in a salon, young people in try for innovate new ideas of how for change the social media platforms, the way they exist right now. They don't realize, say, okay, how can you create some content where we will give you money for monetize your content? So things are really happening in terms of innovation and creativity, in terms of technology in Sierra Leone. But how can we make it beneficial to women? Because International Women's Day, they celebrate this particular thing. How we go able to apply them in a salon for make it benefit women them? And why I say benefit women them, I need to talk about just women already within the landscape of Freetown. How it benefit women within the village? That's the question we should be asking ourselves. Because if we not begin ask yourself then question and they will not be able to apply nothing. What's in the advantages of what we use now in terms of technology? How will they use them well? How will they use them bad? How will they affect we as women them? How will they develop we as women them? We get for begin look at them thing there also and see how best to be able to apply them. That's alone. Because no matter how you look at what's in the happen as alone right now, women then hugely being disadvantaged. Hugely. Also have enough access. Massively. So we still not able to break that gender gap there yet. Because if we begin for encourage women and for get involved, we create an environment we will make them feel comfortable. But I think also not everything is going to be done to suit women. Women are ready for challenge and take their rightful position in society. Because if they're not challenged, man, they're so selfish, they're not able to give that kind of encouragement, stay and zeal for say, okay, we don't need for play a role. Then we begin to say, well, okay, we look into the situation for good and more rights. Do you have to look into that? Or then go say, oh no, will they get a new gender bill they pass for make sure say women and get 30% quota? Really? So that means when I get for quota we. Well, I go tell all the women and say, let's for begin quota them and let's see what's gonna happen. Because it might make a difference. Because if all the lawmakers are men, and then they quota the system for women for play active role, then the woman will pass demand them. So many themselves care for quota the opportunities then within the give man them in their households. Because they are practically in charge of the households. So if they too use that to their advantage, it might change the dynamics overnight. Not to bribe you, not to ransom, not to say we said this guy for play the quota system. But if we men are sitting around the table and discuss quota system for women, why make women not be able to do that? Because then practically both pass with anyway. And while they see the amount of changes the women make in their directions when they want to make change, when they want to make effective change, it will be meaningful. For example, running the household, if the woman will go to market every day, you man they get 10,000 no more for the go buy, 10,000 no more for the go buy, things and they go up, they complain, say, hey, things don't begin go up in the market, so if we begin increase each of money from 10,000 to 15,000, I may not get to, and then the next day the woman go, he decide not for putting you 5,000. He said, well, seeing that 10,000 they give me, I will cook 10,000 plus us. What's in the happen next? What the man they got to complain? This plus us, you not get better beef. This plus us, fish not they say. This plus us, na bonga you cook. Why na bonga you cook for me? You see me like a bonga man? But na bonga money you give. So na bonga you go eat. So these are the differences. So women have so much power, but are they utilizing it well? Women have so much power. Are they taking advantage of it? So we're not going to sit down and say, okay, look, we'll go sit down and get a discussion. Let's put a quota bill together. Let's pass a bill in Parliament next week. Let's put some legislation where you give the woman 30% rights in Parliament. Really? So why is it a percentage? Why do we need to have 30%? Why not open platform wherein equal share, anybody able to take opportunity of any position you take? If we go for campaign for something, let's campaign. Who that reserve for be the winner, be the winner. So if we sit on the table and make discussion for how much percentage women forget, women have more advantage to decide how much percentage also man forgets. Where? In their households, because that is where they have the power. Because if you put 10 pounds and UF for cook, and you have say 10 pounds they cook for you beef, they only give you fish, and you say Papa you want fish, you therefore put money they able to do for the fish. So when woman in the ask for 50-50, I can understand. But also, when man is saying no, they only get 30%, what is the 70% for? And what are men doing with the 70%? Is it benefiting women? Or not at the disadvantage of women? So innovation and technology has a key role to play in this day and age where we live right now. Because if you don't have creativity or you don't kind of have any form of innovation within your environment, the use of technology is going to be minimal for you. Because how can you utilize the use of technology if there is no innovation within you? Because all man they use social media now. So how do you create your own social media platform to be different from others? Because everybody is creating social media platform. All man get Facebook Live, all man get this, all man get what's the difference? What can you bring on your platform that is going to be different from other people? So we got to begin to look at them very technically or practically or carefully and see how best we can be able to utilize the theme of this particular year to change the lives and how much impact it will create for women within Sierra Leone's development. Femi, is there anything else you want to add to the program before we wrap up?
Hello, T-Boy.
Loud and clear.
Can you hear me? Great.
Yes.
Man, you said most of it. You said it all. We have, again, I will just state and say we have to create the Motia. So now we demand them. We have to be part of the discussions there. So we can't just leave it for the woman them. And sometimes the woman they say for give it the opportunity. Because sometimes the woman they say now woman business wait till you go and can't now, you know. But I believe say without us men, these doors will not be open. Not that the women can't open it for themselves, but we, the men, are providing the barriers of entry. So it's very, very important for make we look. You know, it's the development of our country. If we're choosing for from 40-something% of people, it may never reach that itself because some of we have a huge percentage of our population which is possibly teenagers and below. So when they pick positions, if we're choosing maybe 10% of our population for certain jobs and I do the look, then we're doing ourselves a disfavor where we can possibly choose 30 or 40%. So there's a whole heap of women out there where sometimes able to do the job better than a bunch of guys there, but we know they look at them. So we shoot we safe now the foot for in our development by not picking or not giving the opportunity to the greater picture. But I said today, I'd like to thank our government for waiting and do today, for give the woman and the opportunity for go out there and celebrate International Women's Day. Go to all the activities then, be it big or small, or do we just want to stay home and pass the day with their families? You know, it's good. So we want to give them kudos for that, but we want to ask them for do a little bit more. for do a little bit more, for put policies in place so that when they're interviewing for roles, they positively discriminate so that women go get a chance in certain industries, especially the industry we see. We want to encourage. We've got lots of lecturers who are women. We want appeal to them and demand lecture them as well. For the young ladies that really gonna the colleges and the universities them the I'm not gonna say the knowledge, but the opportunity for encourage them, for giving them the encouragement for pursue certain careers them. We school teacher them. Let we mentor the young people, so let we not just push them into the norm, the professions that we'll see in our woman profession in the day. Let we challenge them for follow the STEM courses them. Go do something in engineering. Let we encourage them, because if we don't do that, that young lady might have a better IQ than all man in class, but if you not get the encouragement, then most probably she will not get there. So we all need to be responsible on how we educate and encourage people for go, and it's a selfish thing. Because as I say, not for themselves no more, but we as a country will benefit if we have more people doing greater things. I made an example of a friend. They work on this side of the world, and she works in forensic science. Great. Trained in Sierra Leone, grew up in Sierra Leone, studied in Sierra Leone, came to this side of the world and got herself a brilliant job. We've got a girl who went to the Annie Walsh. She's now sitting in the upper echelons of American government. She's, I think, the advisor to Biden on African affairs. It's born bred Sierra Leonean. We need to provide the environment also for the young woman, also for CAM. There's the lead of the SLFA, not SLFA, of the UKFA. There's a woman, she's Sierra Leonean, T-boy. She's Sierra Leonean. She's a leader at the FA, the English Football Association. We own Salon sister. In a sense, so we need to find these opportunities and open them up for women. If we give them the opportunity, we give them the encouragement and the support, and we create the environment so we then come inside the institution there. So we educate, demand them on how they for treat the woman there. So the conversations are happening in the corridors, not for alienate the woman there. So all the incident, they will see a better Sierra Leone. Women are a great asset, and we need for use their skills and they use them potentials and they for help develop we country.
All right, thank you very much, Femi, for your contribution for that. I think you are on point in almost everything we really say. I know I get my own challenges in some of the things that you don't see, but I'll be left down there for another discussion for another day. But I want to extend my thanks and appreciation to everybody who watch this program right now as we celebrate International Women's Day today with the theme now innovation and technology, how it will change the gender equality issue all over the world, especially in Sierra Leone. So like I said earlier on, we don't talk about some of the challenges the woman in the face in various different capacities, in leadership roles, in creating an enabling environment for them to thrive, in also making sure that they have equal opportunities in getting loans in banks and financial institutions, so that they're able to make their own meaningful contributions in entrepreneurship, in the entertainment, in the film industry, in all the industry that we have in Sierra Leone. But if we not create that environment for them, for make them feel say they have equal opportunity like men, then it will make them very difficult and challenging for them to believe. But also, I also believe, women them on the other hand, for ready for take up the challenge, for ready for put themselves up front, for ready for make sure they make themselves available for take up them positions there, so regardless they're a woman or not. Then my own other controversy opinion where I get on the issues back as well. Now, yes, you can have an organizations run by women and specifically geared towards women. But the disadvantage of that at some point might be on any bring can man them on board for make them know the vital role they play in those institutions, for make them believe, say, you guys have the capacity, you have the knowledge, you have the ability, and you have the tendency as equal as men for delivering at them positions than they wanna get. Like I said earlier on, the positions of authorities in Sierra Leone is only limited to private sectors. The public sector is yet to give positions to women them we na prime positions them we then go say na women in our directors, board of directors, ministers of different institutions, ministers in different ministries them, but we only see about 5 full-blown ministers then at this current administration we they boastfully say then they give women them equal opportunities and they give women more chances them for take positions of trust in government institutions. But what we don't see over the past couple of years, yes, they've created employment for women, they've gave them ministerial positions, but they sack them instantly after a couple of months or a year, and nothing happens, and they were all replaced by men. So look at the gender discrimination of voting we don't meet with great grandparents and don't do for decades. Look, it's time for change that ethics day of voting man is supposed to do within a working environment. We go give equal opportunity to man them as well as women them. Me, I believe, say, in our involvement in employment in Sierra Leone, we possibly don't create more employment for women within the industry than men. Also because we feel, say, they are disadvantaged, but we get them through the ranks of what we believe, say, we will give equal share and opportunity to man them. We go interview them as equally as how we interview man them. And we look at their capacity based in how they will take the work very seriously. So in our involvement within the media sector in Sierra Leone, don't create the opportunity for plenty women them now for become household name camera women or household name media practitioners them, where most times they will not be given such opportunity. They will just left the normal for go and they collect paperwork, put paperwork together, not give them the opportunity for all camera in a public place for film or take pictures. Or then go fishing a woman and so they're not for carry camera bag because it go too heavy for them. Or then go fishing a woman and not for old tripod because it go look funny in their hand. We gave them all those opportunities and make sure say they equally share the role of voting man and they do, and then feel as equals when we go out and do any field trip or when we go out and perform any duties we involve camera crew or producers or directors. Sometimes we give them the role to manage projects where we feel to say something a man no more go do. No, we gave them all those opportunities so that they can understand what in are the possibilities of their abilities for go beyond reality. And we gave them managerial positions as well for run the business they'll get in a salon, because we want to make sure say they believe say they have the potential and capacity. They should not limit themselves. So in the involvement for women empowerment in Sierra Leone, I think that's something we don't do all these years, and we'll continue for DOAM, we will continue for empower women them, we will make sure say they self make their own contribution. On our platforms, we've worked with women like Advocacy, we don't champion a huge amount of medical issues then within our communities in Sierra Leone and in the UK. We don't also work with so many different women then we feel to get the potential for do so many things then within our communities. Not so just in the field of media, but not so just in the field of entertainment. In the field of politics, we've worked with political women then we get ambition for possibly push their career towards so many different areas. We don't work with women, they want for be presidential candidate in a salon. We don't work with women, they want for be ministers in a salon. We don't work with women, they want for be vice president in a salon. We don't work with women, they want for be head of various different institutions in a salon. We don't work with women, they want for even run political parties on their own. So that's the involvement of us as Sierra Leone media with pushing the agenda of gender-based discrimination in Sierra Leone. And I feel that team will take up very seriously and we will work towards to make women get equal share in all positions, as long as they have the capacity, as long as they have the ability, as long as they have the skills and deliverables for take up them positions, then they should be equally interviewed and they should be given equal opportunity. So as we celebrate International Women's Day today, I want to say thank you to all the women who don't join me on the platform and the contribution we don't make both on Facebook and YouTube. And I want to say thank you to all the women who don't follow me for the past couple of years and share programs and make sure they comment and then criticize me professionally and then criticize me professional criticism, the way they make towards what they discuss and what they say, it's all been accepted with full hearts, not with any form of discrimination for saying, no, we accept everything that they say, we work on we lapses and we strive for improve because we believe all what we do now for support, not just women, but Sierra Leoneans. You might have your opinion, you might believe in your opinion, but you should also be in the position to respect other people's opinion. On our platform, we deal with issues, then we are free to say they torment Sierra Leoneans all over the world. Also just women no more. But I think we've always been in the position to prioritize women. Then we know they just take today and celebrate women. Then we take today and every other day for celebrate women. Unfortunately, we'll not get Mr. Juma back today for January. They're on different duties them as usual. And making able for January for today's program. But he extend in appreciation.
I found 11 matches. Could you be more specific?
I get problem with this CEO at the time for put off, but never hear me what. But anyway, we want to say thank you to Koto Jumaba, even though you're not joining me today, and you say thank you to us as well for listening and watching this particular program.
No problem.
Oh my God. So on behalf of the Sierra Leone media team in the UK and in Sierra Leone, we don't make mention of so many names, then we don't make contribution towards gender issues in Sierra Leone. We want to appreciate them so much. We want to encourage them for making them continue or make sure they talk on behalf of women in Sierra Leone. We want to encourage them for make them be steadfast. May they not lose hope. May they not give up. The challenge is not going to be easy, but then for able to galvanize and work together and change the status quo of voting we don't always use for no say man in do against woman then as alone. So until next time, look not just focus on gender-based violence, look not just focus on sexual harassment, look not just focus on teenage pregnancy, but look also focus on developmental strides the way women can put together in terms of creating their own law firms, in terms of creating their own financial firms, in terms of creating their own engineering firms, in terms of creating their own enabling environments, then we then will equally be looked upon as major contributors within society. So until next week, possibly until Friday, we're going to have another program here. We now head-to-head with the politicians in Sierra Leone. I think we get some members of the C4C political party for can discuss about the C4C issue. So that will be our program for this Friday. And also on Saturday, we get the Health Show Partnership Program where they celebrate 5 years of serving the community within the UK and Sierra Leone, where they put together a learn and dine events. Now the St. Mary's banqueting suite within a Camberwell Green by the bus station. So you are all welcome to come. The fee is about, I think it's £45 or so. But definitely come along, you will have some fun. You will have to learn a lot about what are some of the challenging issues that we have in our community when it comes to health. And you should also have a nice dinner being served by Rachel's Kitchen. Who are going to enjoy because we raise them food, no see them food, they're nice. And you can have some amount of entertainment if we finish the event on time. When I say we, yes, we are part of the program. As Sierra Leone media, we've always been in support of female issues. Which I don't know earlier on is another gender-based issues that we only work with for the past couple of years. I think we're always in support of what women do in our community. That is why we're here. But as we celebrate International Women's Day today, I not going to make we forget we sister, we mama, we paddy, we friend, we social media blogger, we yabon who lost a couple of weeks ago, we laid to rest last week. Now, one of the major pioneers of gender issues in Sierra Leone. We want for continue for extend with condolences to her family, and we hope and pray say God will forgive them for all the sins that we don't commit, and may God help you for make we get more of them. We will come for continue for advocates for gender issues in Sierra Leone. So we ask God for make the soul of Enweta Bawa rest in peace, and make Igiwi more people like Enweta Bawa. We will come for talk on the issues of female discrimination in Sierra Leone. Now, one of the pioneers of gender-based issues in Sierra Leone, and we'll not forget them for that. And as we celebrate International Women's Day today, we also go make mention of seeing one of the pioneers of female issues. Them we don't defect for the past decades in Sierra Leone. So I want to say thank you once more to all our viewers on YouTube and Facebook, and continue for like our page on Facebook and continue for subscribe to it. If you not subscribe yet, please subscribe, because we get subsequent programs that we can just do. We possibly you not be able for aware of them because you not get a notification. But continue for share we program and continue for send we your professional criticism of what we do right or what we do wrong. So until Friday, I want to say goodbye and have a great International Women's Day. We'll just gone past about an hour ago, and continue for celebrate women, because women can play a great role in the lives of people all over the world. Until Friday, have a good night.
Naive on me, naive on me, talk and go, talk and come. Naive on me what? For safe returning clean one. Naive on me what?
Bless Akisoya. What you do the comrade for me na gongo atama Akisoma. Now, we begin to go school free. They pay school fee. Pass some of make lunch for we begin there. They will dress up today and go school. No they pay school fee. Nothing on the way they gain at that school. So for that side, we tell the mommy thank you.
I get one project where they say for clean the city. So a call we with the woman there within at Susan's Bay, we take part and that cleaning day.
Africa surge. Now one thing way I don't think say anybody they don't think so we'll get seen like that's Africa. And it's so impressive. I don't go look them. Very impressive. We'll not ever get seen like that around it.
The mayor and donor partners them like Gold Sierra Leone and DFID when on a FCDO. They come up the initiative for develop and build this plant. We don't get a positive impact in Freetown.
And also, even Akisaya, the mayor, come with Freetown the Freetown project for make Freetonians them plant 1 million trees. So Freetown go green again.
As the mayor come take in this market for make it go down and for we are so happy as a charity, because we get some difficulties now the old markets where we been get. We don't take 100 years now. We been get plenty challenges in that market.
Me na be students, because of money business, I be go out of studies. But this particular project don't make I continue with my academic studies. This particular project don't make I able to take care of my family them. This particular project make I able to pay me rent house, water rate, pay me water rate, light bill, and help other people them.
Now you they get them and then they make them small garden, even though they're in a city. They still don't show them how to do gardening. So it's very impressive.
There's a lot of love and togetherness in the air, and I just hope it will continue so, because as people of Sierra Leone, we really now people that way we like we safe and we like we country.
The 12 tribes are together, and there is no tribalism at all. There is that cohesiveness.
Are you contesting for the mayor?
Yes, I am.
I'm running for mayor of Freetown.
In 2020?
I am.
You're running again?
I am.
Are you still running for a second term?
I am running. And I will say I am running for mayor of Freetown City Council.
This is Yvonne Akisoya, former mayor of Freetown. I want to tell you all boku thank you for the support when I give me during my tenure in our office. And today, on International Women's Day, I want to tell you say, me Yvonne Akisoya, we run back for the mayor in June 2023. I ask for all support. Let we continue the journey for Transform Freetown.
This is the time to celebrate the woman.
Woman, woman, woman. Let the world celebrate the woman. A world would mean nothing without a woman. Let the world give women a chance.
Are you a woman?
Woman,
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 woman.
Let
the world celebrate the woman. A world would mean nothing without a woman. Let the world give women a chance.
Sister, the girl, child, and the mother, you are a woman.
Let the world give women a chance.
Why celebrating the woman?
Socio-political, cultural, economic achievements of the woman in the past, present and future. Let the world give women a chance.
Who is a woman?
The most sensitive, so caring, so tender. The most loving in the world. Empower the woman. Educate the girl child. Woman's right is human right. No to violence against women.
No, 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 no,
no.
No, 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 no.
Parlez violence, à la femme.
Wirakani.
No.
Yeah, we find it.
Pas de violence, à la femme.
Tu cherches l'enfant, tu y amour, elle accouche dans les douleurs.
Pas de violence, à la femme.
Tu rentres la nuit, tu sens la corps, cigarette, tu tapes sur la femme.
Pas de violence,
non.
Pas de violence, à la femme.
Pourquoi violenter la femme? Dans le monde entier, je dis non.
Pas de violence, à la femme.
Violence physique, psychologique, économique, harcèlement sexuel.
Pas de violence, à la femme.
Gomil
misu, mère.
Gomil
misu, mère. Ninjimwe.
Wangfu warkele.
Gomil misu, mère.
Shedding my tears for a woman.
I'm shedding my tears for the woman.
Crying the place of the woman.
Shedding my tears. I'm shedding my tears
Wewe sigeni njimwena.
Shedding my tears, I'm shedding my tears for the woman.
Celebrate,
celebrate woman, celebrate woman.
Jingwe nambo afransi, see you born,
Jingwe, celebrate woman, celebrate woman.
Let's celebrate the woman. Let's celebrate the woman. This is good self-God
Celebrate,
God has given to all.
Celebrate woman, see you born in Jingwe, celebrate woman, celebrate woman, celebrate woman, see you born in Jingwe.